voice actor Molly's on, and she voices a character in Ether Gazer. I think her name is Lingguang, and people meme about her lines when she says like it's hard. So that's also kind of rude too, but you know it's fine. At least it gives me a giggle.
Well, don't get soft on me
so
now. What, did you suddenly grow a conscience?
Why you have to say that right after the right after you what the other you says it's hard? Oh my.
It's hard, isn't it? Well, don't get soft on me now. It's hard, isn't it?
I'm sorry. Heads, no. Tails, yes. Okay. Okay, I got heads, so no.
No, do it. I agree.
Oh, no.
Hey, you have consent. You have consent.
I have consent, but I don't have to oblige to the consent.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
What did Bro say?
I'm sorry, what?
Bro really said, I don't have to apply to consent. Flip that, everyone. It'll be you got court.
To your consent. To your yes. So if you say yes, I don't have to say
Bro really said, I don't need consent no more.
I don't need to hear your consent.
No, that's not what I said. That is not what I said.
That's how it came across.
I already took balls.
Yeah, but then you're gonna lose it.
That's
You realize
fine.
that ball has been probably touched by all of us at this point.
Yeah, but that's not an issue, I guess.
Yeah, I have.
It's kind of weird to mention it.
The ball.
You know what?
Now that you mention it.
I don't. Yeah, I don't feel that Nanaton touched the ball.
Yeah, but you
yet.
see, Steph, it's because it's our ball.
Anyway, I'm gonna groan as this. And put all the put it here. I'm gonna fight balls again.
Is that what they call the cock and ball torture?
Yes.
That?
God, I'm so goddamn immature. Holy shit.
What? My guy. No. It wasn't the echo's fault. It was my own fault. I'm stabbing myself in the head. That's funny. Because you don't always, I mean, if there's a content creator, you can't just be like, oh, I can only be happy and that's it. Because it's okay to feel other emotions. Right. Because you're human. If you only feel happy, and you only ever feel happy, then there's probably something wrong, and we should probably, I probably would say get therapy. I know it's like, but you're happy. You don't need therapy. No, you should probably seek therapy. You're probably coping with you're probably using happiness as a cope mechanism for something else. I am eating cake that is not actually
I
cake.
know you're going to say but,
You're gonna talk about ass?
AKA
Are you staring at my ass?
Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah.
With like a marshmallow
Yeah, show. Are you staring
icing,
at my
not really icing. It is
I'm
great.
sorry. I'm sorry.
I should have cropped my thing. Actually, I could do it right now. I could.
Why do you have that call again?
I don't know.
You know what? Nah, I'll do it after
I just
stream.
so
I'll
happen
do it
to
after
have
stream.
it.
You know what? I'll do it
And
now.
this
I'll do it now.
game
We have
really
time.
wants me
It's
to
not like
do
I'm not gonna talk about
Take
much
my
anyway.
call,
I'm
please.
gonna
I need
do some
them.
cropping real quick.
I don't
go
have
to
any
my,
more detours,
photos and
Sarge. I
show you all
I
the
have to touch it.
freaking not cake that I made.
You touch his
Who
ball.
are you today?
I made it last night.
How to
That's
attack his
why
balls.
for the people on this in the Discord server,
I was just joking.
I actually did a
Alright.
community
Why would I
quote,
attack Sarge's balls?
because of recent events, and I feel like
Thank you for
I
What?
might want to cool
I
down
hate this. Oh god.
because those recent events are not very great. So yeah, I decided.
7 days to
Why not?
die.
I didn't really stay
had
for
a
long because I said I was
flashbulb.
gonna do something
You could have done the funniest thing.
in a few hours,
Oh.
which was actually to make the cake.
Oh, well,
Well, not cake,
so
but
sorry,
okay,
Sarge.
if
That wasn't
that's
meant for you,
cropped
Sarge.
enough, we'll do it. It has a number, but I don't think that number matters. Because the cake, or not cake,
Oh, you
was
see, this
for a
is
birthday.
fine. Right.
Uh,
Hey,
so-
that's what I wanted to see.
You know, let me
That's what I
send
wanted
it
to
to
see
Discord
right
so
there.
I can send
That's
it
a
to
three. And it got me there. Let's go.
other places more
You have one
easily.
health, buddy.
Okay. Go.
You thought this was for
cack.
no, no, this was just for this
Not
goal,
cake.
right?
That's cake.
Now I could do no damage to this guy.
Or if my voice sounds a little weird, just because I'm eating cake and sweet stuff makes my mouth feel
That does not count.
not the best for speaking.
I came back to life and with a vengeance.
I think I just shot my throat.
It's gooey, but it's delicious.
Can you
Because it's got marshmallows.
No, but you can get close.
The calibrated model. Because we are using it this time.
You're
I
welcome.
mean, we used it last time, so I guess it doesn't matter.
I even said it
Ooh,
before
it's
you even
glitching.
showed up.
It's glitching.
That's
Okay.
amazing.
Yeah, model is glitching. Oh, I gotta restart VTube Studio then.
So,
Okay.
care to take a guess at what that means?
Oh, well.
Keen. Well, what should I say? I expected nothing less.
I don't know what
Person
I
here
clicked.
who is the most familiar with Stellaron.
Someone is manipulating those. Yep. You know,
Because I gotta recalibrate because
I'm a genius, guys. You know,
I
I totally
use my
was not an
phone.
accident. All right.
So yeah, that's why I said my
I-
voice
I
might sound weird because
said that
of
choice
the
on
because of the sweets. But yeah. We do a calibrate on V Bridger. Okay. And then let me get the image of the cake prepared for late.
Hey, NPC Chan, ooh woo, you're
Then-
so cute. Can I
Da,
have
da,
you
da,
on your
da.
breath? What?
Oh, I said I copied the image. I need to copy the link. Okay.
My guy.
I don't think it should
No.
show anything in particular. No, it doesn't show anything.
It wasn't the echo's fault. It was my own fault. I'm stabbing myself in the head.
All right. I think we should be prepared to go to the thing now. Yeah, might as well. Okay, two things. One, hi. We're watching Civ. So you'll see this. Two, this is the cake. I was celebrating my aunt's 65th birthday. So yeah, that's today. So that's why we're doing it. And yeah, I used chocolate chip to make the 6 and the 5. Rice Krispies. The image, or I should say the photo is a little bit blurry, but it's okay. The whatchamacallit, the bottom part, which is the brown, is Rice Krispies treats, like in used is brown because of obviously the chocolate chip. I mixed it in, and I wanted to mix it in like that because that's how I want it. I didn't want it to be the usual Rice Krispie color with chocolate chip. I actually wanted it to be brown because I wanted to incorporate the chocolate throughout the whole Rice Krispie, get the whole experience, and with the, I guess, quote unquote icing, but not really icing. We're also using marshmallows. Got some nuts, crushed nuts, mostly cashews, but crushed cashews, and there was some little, like, hard pastry that I also crushed up a little bit. It's not like a fine crush. It's like a very rough crush. So you can see like there's a lot of big pieces of a cashew and stuff. But I made a sauce, icing, quote unquote, out of the marshmallows, the crushed cashews, and the pastry, honey, and I'm trying to remember the other unit. I might have added a little bit of cinnamon, and of course, I also like to add a little bit of salt to my desserts that I make. I don't make much desserts, but I add a little bit of salt just to add some more like a kick to it. So it should be basically a chocolate cinnamon Rice Krispie treat with a quote unquote icing, marshmallow icing of nuts to make it look like a cake. So yeah, uh, that is the little cake, quote unquote, not cake, really, not really cake, but you know, a little thing just to celebrate my Ron's birthday, 65th birthday. Uh, it's just I just basically just took what I had and I worked with it. That's what I'm good with. I'm good at just working with what I got. Could I have made an actual cake? If I had a lot of time, then maybe. I have flour, I have eggs. I don't have like actual sugar. Like, because I'm an Asian family, we tend to prefer buying brown sugar, which is not bad. You can still use brown sugar, but I think I would I think my an Asian household generally prefers like these Rice Krispie treats over actual like more like Western style cakes. So I think I did a good job. And yeah. But yeah, welcome by the junkie. I need to remind myself in like 5-ish minutes to start ads because I don't want you guys to deal with ads while we start the watching the dang thing. So if you see it says, I don't know what time zones you are at, but if this thing, oh, where's the timer? Where's the timer? Oh well. But if it's 5 minutes until the stream starts, do tell me in chat or use a sound alert. There is a redeem for a sound alert. You'll know which ones they are. Just do the sound alerts, and then that'll remind me to do that. I do have my own little alert. Okay, there you go. Thank you. Thank you, Siv. It's almost as if they heard me saying that I need this timer, so I know when to start ads, so that people can see Civ 7. But yeah, don't worry about the stuff on the right. Of course, got Ursa Riot, very prominent Civ content creator. Then we got Molly's, one of Molly's shorts. We got a Japan Eat short, and then we got MasterChef Canada. I don't know. It's just every time I see freaking random MasterChef Canada, so I just like watching. I mean, I like to cook, so no surprise that I like to watch MasterChef. But whether it be like US or Canada or whatever, I like watching it. I had to learn. I like to learn like cooking techniques. Maybe I'll learn something off of it. Maybe it'd be like, oh, we can waste less time by doing this or whatever. Also, and yes, I did mute the desktop audio because, you know, didn't want the desktop audio to cover the sounds of the clip or reel from when I start stream. But we're not there anymore, so we don't care about that. And yeah, I'm currently eating some of the knot cake that I made. I made it last night, so I made it last night. Put it in the fridge to let it cool down. You know what? Speaking of while I was cooking, I actually found 3 cockroaches. So well, there was one in the kitchen, but as an Asian as an Asian guy living in an Asian house, not Asian style house, it's just Asian. We're Asian, but well, I should say we, because not everyone here is Asian. You get what I mean? The household is Asian. So I have like an indoor kitchen, outdoor kitchen. So there was a cockroach in the indoor kitchen, which I killed. And then while it was like after I was cooking or making the Rice Krispie treat stuff, I ended up also finding 2 more cockroaches in the sink. And because they were in the sink, it was pretty tough for me to kill. So what I did was I used a little bit of soap to slow down the cockroaches, and I took a napkin. I just like crushed it. I crushed, but one of them was smaller, but there was one that was big, so it was able to just die easily. But the other one kind of want to stay in the little like sinkhole. You have a little like cover, like filter thing, so it's not gonna like be stuck to the like the sinkhole, like it's not going inside. It was just like on the sink filter thingy. So I just put some more soap on it, or not more, but I just put soap on it, and it basically like slowed down to a crawl. So I was able to kill it. Yeah, that was fun. Killing 3 freaking cockroaches in freaking one night. Maybe I should do something about it. Man, I don't know if we can have a cockroach infestation. I hope not, because 3 cockroaches is not a good look for the kitchen. And yeah, I cooked or I made the Rice Krispie treats outside in the outdoor kitchen because I don't want the house. I mean, it smells nice. Desserts tend to smell nice, but I don't want it stinking up the whole house. So that's why we have an outdoor kitchen, so that certain things, certain smells and stuff won't permeate everything. Thank you. There you go. That was my alarm. So now I will actually start ads so that you guys won't have to deal with the ads immediately. So sorry to the non-subscribers, but we're doing this for you all. All right. That said, minutes to waste randomly talking, and then we have 2 more minutes to wait for the actual thing to start. Sorry, crispy thing fell off. It surprised me a little bit. That there, so that I know it fell on the floor, so I won't eat it. And no, chat, don't say 5-second rule, cause that's actually insanitary. Don't do that. Don't 5-second rule, because diseases are freaking rampant. Okay, so Don't 5-second rule. I understand if you're saying it as a meme, but if you're serious, don't, because it will actually get you sick. Oh yeah. How are y'all doing, by the way? Been talking too much about myself. How are y'all doing? I wanted to learn about the exploits though. Because for those of you who don't know, when I play Civ, I'm not a guy who likes to play in the coast. Mostly because, okay, if I do play in the coast, then I'm sticking to the coast. And if I'm not coastal, then I don't stay in the coast. if I'm in the coast, that's how like I play like Civ 5 and Civ 6. Like if you're in the coast, you just freaking settle coastal all the time. And if you're not, then you can. But you do have to be wary of the actual coastal players. If you're reversing AI, then probably not as big of a deal because it's AI. Well, actually, it's still probably like a big deal, especially like you're freaking thing like freaking Harold, because he'll just be like, "Ugh, how dare you not have ships and stuff." So I was not to worry about him, but otherwise, he should be fine. That is so good. Really outdone myself with this one, with this dessert. Again, I don't really make desserts. No. Oh yeah, my little sorry. I mean, for anyone wondering what I'm eating, this is what I'm eating. I don't worry, I'm eating this with a napkin, so I'm not really touching the dessert. So I am not dirtying my hands. Otherwise, I'll make my freaking keyboard and everything dirty. I don't want that. That's so nice. If you never freaking cooked or baked for yourself or for your household, learn to do it. It's freaking amazing. All right, you'll never want to freaking get takeout ever again. And it's cheaper. All right, you learn how to cook better over time. You make actual food, and it's cheaper. Okay, cook for yourself because it'll help you a ton. Trust me. Okay, absolutely trust me on that. I also want to paste an image. Hopefully, I did not paste the image beforehand. Oops. Okay. There was an image that I wanted to look at, but let's hope I have time for it. Okay, 20 seconds. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna paste this just so I can remember for myself later. Okay. All right. 10 seconds. All right. Probably better to watch on Twitch, but it's okay. If you're watching the Civ 7 stream on Twitch, don't spoil me 10 seconds in. Please don't.
Hello, Civ fans, and welcome to our Exploration Age live stream. I am Sarah, your community manager. We are so excited. We have a lot to show you today, including a new Civ and a new first look for a leader. We're going to be diving into some very exciting Exploration Age mechanics. And also, we're going to be taking a few questions in chat, so be sure to leave them in chat, and we will try and tackle as many as we can. I am joined by Ed Beach, creative director, and Carl Berrien Harrison, our lead designer, who just recently had a baby Berrien and is taking a break from paternity leave.
Yep.
So a couple PSAs for you guys. Starting with, we are extremely excited to announce we're doing our first ever Civ 7 Twitch drop. So all you have to do for our Twitch viewers that are watching us is to link your Firaxis and 2K account together. Watch for at least 15 minutes, but we hope you stick around for longer. If you do that, then you get a very cool Exploration Age banner, which shows up in places like the pause menu and the multiplayer lobby. So just a really cool way to customize your profile. And
wait, no, it's just customize your profile.
We have a super cool shout out to make. We've got a exciting collector's edition for the game. So if you like physical items, be sure to check out the collector's edition. Some really cool
not my
things
jam
there.
personally, but if you guys want collector's edition,
awesome
go
clock
ahead.
design, a scout figure, very exciting items, and I think even a really cool coin that you can get in the collector's edition too.
Yeah, the collector's coin has a reference to the 4 different types of victories in the game. So if you are feeling economic, militaristic, scientific, or cultural, you can spin the coin around to represent exactly what you're going for that day.
That's awesome, and we're going to be talking a little bit more about what that looks like in game too, which is exciting. So when you order the collector's edition, or if you want to check out your Exploration Age banner from this Twitch drop, just a reminder that Civ 7 comes out February 11th for PC and console, which is super, super exciting to announce.
For anyone wondering, I am
and you can play as early as February 6th if you pre-order. So definitely some exciting stuff to come. Ed, tell me a little bit about why you're so excited for the Exploration Age live stream.
This is the live stream I've really been waiting for. This is when we really show how sort of the normal progression of an empire can turn in a different direction because of the new age of history that we're opening up and into as we get into the Exploration Age.
I really want to know what they're going to do.
So we're going to start out by showing the empire that we created through antiquity. It's just a few turns before the Exploration Age is going to dawn on us. And we'll walk you through exactly how we got to this point, but really show you some of those cool Exploration Age details about how the gameplay changes as you uncover the other half of the map.
Yeah, it's going to be really amazing. And you're even rocking the Exploration Age t-shirt, it looks like, which is awesome. I know you've been really excited for this, and Carl too.
Yeah.
As am I. So just also a quick reminder, just remember that when we show off these details, these builds are still work in progress, so just keep that in mind for us. Yep. And without further ado, here is our new first look for a leader that you guys might remember from the past.
At colonialism by pairing Isabella. At colonialism by pairing Isabella with her home civ, Spain.
Huh? Spain.
Colonialism by pairing Isabella with her home.
Troubleshooting just a little bit on the first look video. Why don't we just take a moment again, Ed?
Isabella, guys.
You have been super excited about this Exploration Age live stream. I know we talked a little bit about some of the mechanics that people can come to expect, and this leader, I think in particular, the team is really excited to show off too.
So I think one thing we should note to people is that I was talking just a moment ago about how you pursue the 4 different pathways through the game, either militaristic, scientific, cultural, or economic. And we have talked in the previous live streams, Antiquity stream, we showed how, for instance, the cultural pathway during Antiquity is all about building world wonders.
Yep.
So just a reminder to people that as we launch into a new age, we're going to be talking about different ways to make progress in those 4 areas. Those are what we call our legacy paths. We have 4 unique legacy paths that are very tightly tied to the way the Exploration Age unfolded historically. And so deep diving into those is going to be really interesting for people.
And speaking of deep dives, I think we are ready to check out that first look now, so let's go.
Okay, there we go, Isabel. Okay, for real this time.
Queen Isabella ruthlessly consolidated Spain's power through the Spanish Inquisition and Reconquista. Then expanded her empire's global reach into the New World.
Coastal bias.
This means that she gets along well with anyone who doesn't take what is rightfully hers. In other words, everything. As a relentless expansionist, Isabella's discoveries and conquests abroad reap rich benefits at home.
It's Civ 5. It's Civ 5 Isabella. Yeah.
Command Isabella's
I expect it to
massive
actually
naval
be straight up
fleets to
Civ 5
claim
Isabella.
and defend territory near and
Okay.
far, all without breaking the bank. Capitalize on all that colonialism by pairing Isabella with her home civ, Spain, in the
Spain,
Exploration Age,
yes.
for extra gold towards converting towns into cities. Or choose a different path all your own. But whatever you build, remember to build something you believe in.
Build something you believe in, chat. Alright.
So that was our first look for Isabella. We hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to check out the game guide for
drinking some
Isabella
water.
after the stream ends. Ed, can you tell us a little bit about why the team wanted Isabella to make a return to Civ 7?
So Isabella is a leader that's sort of near and dear to my heart. We just saw in that
okay.
video the final wonder that was being built at the end was El Escorial, which is outside Madrid.
Oh.
Took a trip to Spain when my daughter was studying abroad there. Visited places like El Escorial, but also Granada, where Ferdinand and Isabella are buried. And it was just a really cool, deep look into Spanish history and all the different cultures that have come together to form Spain as it is now. We're actually, you go there, you get a sense of, oh, well, there's a lot of Roman heritage, but there's Greek heritage, Visigothic heritage, Moorish heritage. You see all this culture combining into making up what Spain is today, and we'll see that in game as well. Now, we came home from that trip, and not too much long after that, my wife and I got 2 new cats. We happened to name the cats Ferdinand and Isabella.
Eating sweets just makes my
Isabella
voice
is
kinda
actually our cat
not
that
the
loves
best.
to sit
my
on
throat.
a
A
civilization
little bit
pillow.
achy, but it's okay.
And so, you know,
Cat.
there she
Oh my
is,
gosh.
probably at home watching the live stream on her Civ 6 pillow.
What you doing there?
Don't
look at me like that.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a personal connection here for Isabella for me.
That's amazing. It looks like she's ready to go.
She loves watching live streams, so she should be.
You've even made a board game that features Isabella.
There's also a Spanish Ferdinand and Isabella board game that I worked on that came out about a year ago. So yeah, very much tied into sort of the historical period that I'm really fascinated with.
Very cool.
That's awesome. And I know a lot of our Civ players that have been with us from our older games too are probably excited to see her make a return to the game too.
So I think one thing we should talk about as well in terms of a return is the bonuses that were chosen for Isabella. Carl had a hand in sort of coming up with what those should be. I think it was a discussion that
let
you
us
were
take
having.
the thing from Civ 5.
Yeah, so we have a whole content design team, and we were working on Isabella's design and what that should look like. And Matt Beach, another content designer, and I were both enamored with the Civ 5 version of Isabella. We thought that she was a ton of fun with her Natural Wonder gameplay, the fact that you got gold from discovering them, the fact that you doubled or increased the yields that they provided. So we wanted to bring that back. But we also wanted to sort of address the feast or famine bit of that. If you didn't have a Natural Wonder, you didn't really benefit from her abilities at all. So we've added this naval unit portion so that she can have a really large fleet to sail the world and discover the Natural Wonders so that then she can settle them.
That's awesome. Well, let's see her in action. Let's go ahead and load up the game.
All right, there we go.
And really quick,
wow, it's a lot
while
of happy
we're here,
people.
Let's just talk for a second about
for that one
the
guy,
Exploration
you're
Age
right.
and what it represents. I know we're starting off here in Antiquity. We're going to show that transition moment, but just for everybody wondering, what can we expect from Exploration?
So Exploration is the time where, starting in the Middle Ages, but kind of progressing forward from that, a lot of different world powers unlock the technology to sail across
And
the
this
oceans.
is still Antiquity
Initially,
Age.
that was a pretty dangerous endeavor. You'll see how that works in our game, that it's not the safest thing to do right at the beginning.
this should
of
still be
Exploration
Antiquity Age. So
but the key
this is
sort
why
of
they're the
game
Greeks right now.
and sort of history-changing revolution was that now you could trade with trade partners that were across distant seas. There were exotic goods from across the world that would be coming back home, and that just had a tremendous impact on the economies of the world, on the different types of trade networks that were being formed. There was a lot of contention in terms of how Europeans were going to get to the Orient to get spices. So it really changed just the whole geopolitical situation of the world. And we wanted to represent that in the game by having just a whole different set of gameplay mechanics roll into our game. And so the civilization experience does change quite a bit when you get in the exploration age.
Got it. Well, we're here in antiquity. We're starting as Greece. Carl, as we kind of move around the map a bit, what can we expect from sort of the game settings, first of all, too, that we're looking at here?
Well, right now we are at 3 turns or so left in this age. In every single age, you have an age progress meter, and up here we have our age progress is set to 98%. So we're very close to the end of the age. And I'll go ahead and get some gameplay started here.
And I could actually answer the game settings question, because this was actually a game that I played. So I played this out to get us ready for the stream. The thing I wanted to do was make sure that we could really show in detail the turns at the very beginning of the exploration age. So I left this at standard speed rather than going to the quick speed that we often use for a lot of our streams. We have this on a map where there are 4 players on our homeland continent that we've been fighting with in antiquity.
That kind of looks
We'll go through which of those players are doing well and which of those have had some challenge. In terms of the difficulty setting, the setting is what we call sovereign. It's the new name for the emperor difficulty level. That's one below immortal. So we wanted the AI to keep up with what an experienced Civ 7 player is capable of, but not put it on one of those really tricky difficulty settings at the top.
Right.
And there's one AI opponent, Xerxes, who has had a really tough time in this age. We boxed him in very effectively between Ashoka and my empire, so he's behind. But the other 2 AI civs are keeping right up in terms of where they're at in both
those little black,
like science development, culture development, and everything like that.
I've got to say, Xerxes does not look happy right now.
He shouldn't be, given the situation. Carl's showing it right now, how his 2 cities are between this eastern edge of our empire, which is mountainous, has a few choke points, and you can see how far to the west here Ashoka has come over with his
Ashoka there too.
empire. So Xerxes is militarized with building walls around his cities to try to defend what he can. He has also taken one of his settlers and dropped them all the way down in the southern end of our continent here, and created a city on this navigable river inlet into a lake. So we'll see some stuff later in our stream about what he does with the city, and it's actually very, very interesting.
It gives plus 15% gold.
Okay, Carl, so what are we looking at here? What's going on?
So towards the end of an age, as I was talking about previously with the 98% age progress that we've got right now, you do start to see what's called a crisis.
Or is that just
a crisis sort of accelerates the conflict that occurs at the end of the game. And the crisis that we have in this particular game is a barbarian invasion, which causes barbarian camps to spawn around the world. These are completely hostile units that will attack us, and we can see we have one spawned right here near us. But the other thing that occurs with a crisis is you're forced to pick what are called crisis policies, and these are unique social policies that have negative effects. So if we come over here to this tab, we're able to see the crisis policies that we have here. I'll let you talk a little bit about these.
So this is a reflection of this crisis has been going on for a while. You can see on the progress bar here that it has 3 different stages to it, and we're well into the 3rd stage. As each stage is sort of unlocked, the situation gets worse. You have to adopt even more of these crisis policies. So I picked 4 out of the 6 that I thought were least harmful to me. But you can see, based on the names of them, I'm hiring mercenaries in from the barbarians to try to fight off the other clans of barbarians. This was a tactic that Rome used late in the Roman Empire to try to keep Western Rome alive. I'm offering tribute to them to try to pacify them a little bit. I have some commanders within my army that are rebelling, but somehow I managed to keep things together. And so that's a good example of some of those crisis policies that you have to live with.
And these affect all players equally. So the AI is also affected by the crisis and has to select their own crisis policies to deal with the problem at the same time. where the camps themselves spawn is a little bit more organic and random. So this is right smack in between two of our own settlements, but the others might have spawned next to somebody else's city and could be affecting them.
I just finished dealing one with a camp in the northwest corner of the Empire. That's no longer there, but you can tell, you know, this crisis plays out over a number of turns. I have an army that just came back from clearing out the camp up there. Basically, any little nook or cranny in the middle of your empire is a place where they might slip in an encampment, and you're going to have to deal with it. Those people who like to sort of forward settle the other players and spread out, there's some downsides to that here.
We have a question coming through. Wingston GER asks, so is loyalty no longer a thing?
Loyalty, I'll just say that there is a system very similar to loyalty. It's not a system that's on all the time, but there are 3 different crises that can possibly hit a player in each of the ages, and we have a crisis that is basically that same type of effect that loyalty, sort of like those dark ages in the Rise and Fall in Civ 6 where loyalty hit you really hard. That's what that crisis is.
We do have a couple of other things to show off in game here. Right now I have
a feeling it might be
one
more
of
tied to
Greece's unique civilian units selected.
That's just
they get a special type of great
maybe
person called a Logios.
Maybe Expo, maybe not.
And here we have Hypatia, who is going to grant additional science on a library building. So we've stationed her there, and I'll go ahead and activate her. We'll talk a little bit more about great people here in a moment, but before we do, I also want to choose our civic. We have future civic available because we've completed all of the other base civics that we have to choose from, and future civic has a couple of things available on it, but most notably of which is it adds age progress. So this is a way for you to accelerate through the age a little bit faster and get to the end of that crisis if it's really bothering you and you're advanced enough in either tech or civics, because future tech also does the same thing.
It's also an interesting tactic in a multiplayer game when you can like pull a lever to control when the game's going to end and sort of maybe lock in your lead. That's a cool thing to be able to do in a multiplayer game as well.
Fireball4585 asks, does everyone have the same crisis?
They do, and you can imagine, you know, it'd be a little crazy to have these barbarian camps spawning in between players, and oh no, wait, they're only going after one player. We want the world to feel like, you know, it's beset by barbarians or plague and disease or whatever, and have that be a sort of common problem that everyone faces together.
Right.
A little concerned about the Explo age now.
Right. So I think we've reached the end of Antiquity here. We have a narrative choice available, so if we select that, we get this pop-up talking about the world is broken, and this is to deal with the barbarian crisis that we've been sort of combating over the last several turns, and the age of Antiquity is now ending.
We now
go. We're gonna click on this. It lets you finish your turn, just in case there's a little bit of housekeeping that you want to take care of.
Okay, that's good.
That's good. We'll show in a few seconds sort of, you know, what the Empire looks like on the other side of the age transition. But keep in mind that the type of military units and their position does get preserved. They sort of get reset back to a sort of a home base into one of their towns or cities nearby, or with a commander nearby. But you know, even those little battles you have at the end of the turn might affect, you know, in the very last turn, might affect the composition of your army going forward. So
wonder what those are.
We've tried to set it up so
I assume those are
the last couple turns of the ages still,
manually?
you know,
could be wrong.
carry forward and are impactful to you in the next
This one's outside borders.
Speaking of things that carry forward or don't carry forward, we have one user asking, Anthony, do crisis policies last the remainder of the game or just the length of the crisis?
So you'll see after we come through transition that your whole government resets and all the policies are going to be refreshed. The crisis policies are not active when there's not a crisis going on.
Yeah.
So the crisis policy slots will be cleared. You won't have any of those at the beginning of the age. What is very cool is that the civilization unique policies, I think, Carl, you want to bring those up?
Are those
so
ones that
look
stay?
at which ones we have is Greece. So anyone that has the sort of feather quill type of icon here, those are our 3 Greek unique policies, unique policies we typically call traditions, and traditions carry forward with you. So those are going to be the ones that we start the next stage with.
Oh,
I guess we have
okay,
one
so
slotted and 3 available.
going with the
So you can see how it's
getting
really
those,
like a tactical choice to pick
getting
who that
those,
antiquity civ is
policies.
when you think
It
about
all
it.
matters, and all those choices sort of stack. And by
Right.
the end of the game, your empire is a conglomeration of all those choices you've made up until then.
I think we're ready to advance.
Let's do it.
So the first thing you see is
Definitely want to look at the
cool
policies
video.
just to make sure you're able to keep the regular ones.
And we will be
I assume
going into
no,
that
but just want to see.
as soon as we
As soon as we grow this city.
I must have had something carry over.
Yeah.
Carry over. Oh, okay. Is there something else? Surely there's something else.
AI take their turns.
There we go.
And now
There we go. 07. Goodbye, antiquity age.
Strong trade came of strong relations, and Greece flourished because it chose its partners well.
Okay, so this is the Greeks. So I wonder if it's different for each different antiquity age that you pick.
So after the cool painting and narration by Gwendolyn Christie, we get to a series of screens that sort of recap the age for you. So the first one lists out all the progress we've made from the different legacy paths that we've been proceeding down, and they're going to unlock lots of points.
And then we
we'll
got
be
some
spending in
points
age
over
transition.
there.
We'll be deep diving into how we're going to spend them in
2
just a
science,
second.
2
We won't
culture,
read
1
through all those right now.
military.
I think the one I want to go to immediately is the
3
age ranking screen.
economic.
Because that's going to show us
age
in each of those 4 legacy paths who the big players were that were competing with us.
So
we built 5
Isabella
wonders. We
obviously
were not able to finish that legacy path and
do
get to
that.
7 wonders of the ancient world. We
Isabella
also
is
were not able to
economic
get
and
to 12
expansionist, so it
towns.
makes
We didn't,
sense
I
that
didn't really play this out
they would be the best at
militaristically. I was
that.
trying to build just a really cool Greek empire. So we got about halfway through that path. But the last 2, we do see people that finish those. The Great Library legacy path, where you're trying to get 10 codices collected and displayed in your libraries. Both Hatshepsut and Ashoka finished that path. And then the Silk Road path, where you're collecting resources and allocating them to your settlements, I was able to finish that one. So based on that, we can go to the next tab, which is the Legacies report, and you'll see that there are bars sort of 1, 2, or 3
you can see, like, what you
segments in length based on how many of those milestones you achieved. Basically, we're pretty much tied with Hatshepsut right now. We both got 8 of those milestones achieved. In very different
3
areas.
science,
You know,
2
she didn't do
economic,
nearly as much
2
with economics as we
culture,
did, but she did a
and
lot more with
military.
science. And we're neck and neck with her, and Ashoka's only a hair behind us. You know, this is the type of recap you have at the end of the age. It also shows you, to some extent, who's going to be strong, kind of get that initial jump start in various areas. We're going to have to assume that Hatshepsut and Ashoka will
The
probably
statistics,
proceed a
guys,
little
it's
bit faster
important.
than we do
You
in
got-
science
you
in the
gotta-
next age.
you gotta
because
know
they'll
the
have more
statistics.
science legacy points to spend.
Very
Right,
important.
and I think, you know, something that some of our eagle-eyed players might spot is that little reference to legends, too, I think is on some of those screens as well. This is something that we're going to talk about more in the future. Essentially, the team wanted a way to reward our players for playing a certain leader a lot. We've got players that like to play these leaders over and over, and there's a really cool system involved there that we'll speak more to in the future. But let's head on back.
I
into
assume
the
it's not
game.
going to be a gameplay thing.
So we have moved on through the transition, and we have picked our next civilization.
I know, exciting stuff. Spain
So we got
revealed.
Spain.
So we got a double reveal here, really. Spain is who we're going to be playing as. those eagle-eyed fans that Sarah was just talking about are probably looking on the right-hand side of our screen.
They catch everything.
And there is a modern age
Mexico,
Civ that has also been just briefly mentioned here.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
50%
So more
gold
on
towards
that
the furnace
Civ to come in the
Tantra
future
City,
too.
or 30%
But Ed and
distant
Carl, tell me
lands.
a little bit about why Isabella and Spain work so well together.
So Isabella, as we were
Escorial,
discussing earlier, is
makes
all
sense.
about sort of distant lands
Tercio.
gameplay. While she gets advantages on any
Conquistador.
natural wonder in the game, she gets twice as much gold when she discovers a natural wonder in the distant lands, and then her naval bonuses really help her expand and explore the world once we reach this
Don't
exploration
be trained in
age.
cities with the war.
Spain is also all about distant lands gameplay. They get tons of bonuses towards them, most notably of which is their unique civilian unit, the Conquistador, which I was talking about great people earlier. This is a great person that's unique to Spain specifically, and they're really all about distant lands gameplay and getting all kinds of cool bonuses once you
So
sail
you want to
the
go to
new world.
distant lands.
And we've gotten a lot of questions ever since the game was announced about how the
culture.
progression from one Civ to another works.
And then
You
we
can see
got
in the middle of our screen
And
that
gold
there are
adjacent for
check
navigable
boxes
rules. I'm
marked
looking at
off
Kazakh
to
there,
show
Kazakh,
players why Spain
That
was an
show,
option for them. You could have played as Rome. We didn't do that. We chose Greece. But since there were a lot of Greek colonies along the Mediterranean coast of Spain, even in the area of Valencia that's been hit by the floods recently, and so our hearts go out to those people right now. They've had a tough time in Spain there recently. But Greek and Roman settlements are a huge part of the Spanish heritage. Or obviously, if you play as Isabella, who's the leader who historically led Spain through some of their best moments, those are all. Any one of those is all that you need to be able to unlock Spain.
But I'm curious about how you're
as
able
your
to
second Civ in
get
the
certain
Exploration Age.
Well, let's see Spain and Isabella in
cultures
action.
if you're not playing Rome
as we
or
load in
Greece
here,
or Isabella.
we'll let
Well, let's
Gwen and
say you
Christy
want to play
talk.
Spain, but you don't want to be any of those.
Dialogue
Gotta let her
I wonder how you'll be able to
By
pick
the
Spain.
ocean's expanse, Spain will follow the Song of Gold to unknown lands and make them its own.
I do want to talk about briefly what distant lands means. We keep using that term. There are two terms that are really important to Exploration Age, and that's homelands and distant lands. Homelands is the landmass that you start on, the continent that you begin the game on, that we saw already when we were playing as
So basically different
Greece in
continent.
the
That's what I
Antiquity
was
Age.
kind of expecting.
Distant lands is everywhere else. It's all other land masses that you are unable to reach in the Antiquity Age that you get to start to explore and cross oceans to find once you reach this new age.
And let's talk a little bit about map generation,
all of
because
those.
that homeland distant land divide is very important in map generation. So the homeland landmass that's generated on this map, this is a new type of map that's brand new for Civ 7. It is called Terra Incognita, and it generates a very traditional sort of continent
It might be a little bit in the corner, but that's
type of homeland area for players to start on. So that's going to feel very familiar to them. But what's cool about the Terra Incognita map is the other half of the world, you don't know what that looks like. And it's not going to necessarily be a second continent-shaped landmass. There are variable die rolls that happen when that map is generated that determine sort of how watery that area is. And so there are possibilities from it looks just like the homelands to something that's sort of pockmarked with bays and lakes and all sorts of waterways that are fun to explore. So we'll have to see as we proceed with our gameplay as to what that other half of the map is going to look like.
All right, let's go ahead and choose our legacies and get this Exploration Age started.
Yep.
All right. Can't wait to see this one. This is going to be fun.
So these are bonuses that were achieved during their Antiquity run.
I assume it's still the same thing.
You can see in the top middle of the screen that we have different points in different areas. One wildcard point, and then the other points are based on how many milestones we ticked off on the Legacy Pass. I saw that we had a question from chat about should you go just heavy in one area or should you diversify? I think it's all a matter of sort of what your long-term strategy is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, I'm just gonna pick a bunch of science civs and go through the game that way and try to win a science victory as quickly as I can. Okay, then you've made your decision then. Here, I knew we were gonna really deeply explore Exploration Age gameplay, I wanted to be set up with an economic powerhouse. That's why I made sure I finished the Silk Roads path, and then I got as far as I could on the other ones. But that's something for everyone to explore, and sort of it's just whatever fits your play style.
Right. Yeah, if you have the capacity to, it looks like it really does benefit you too to kind of get these
It's
points.
tricky to get all of the milestones.
Wonders
There have been a few times that people on the development team have done it.
pretty
They're like,
interesting.
I was so proud of my
build a lot of
run
wonders
last
and
weekend,
really-
or
or build
last
a lot,
week because
yeah.
I was able to get all of them.
Right.
But it's not easy to do.
Pretty huge.
So what are
Don't
we
know
working
if
with
Wonders
here?
Heritage
So
carries over
we've got
to,
one military point to
modern
spend, so
era,
let's go ahead and grab a militaristic attribute. Then we have 2 cultural points to spend, and I think we built a lot of wonders, so I think we can go ahead and pick
And
up.
notice there are attribute points in all of these areas. Those are sort of the basic things that you unlock for just getting to that first milestone. But if you get to the second or third milestones, that's when these more powerful legacy cards sort of become available to you to trigger an effect that not everyone else in the game is going to be.
We do have
access
you
to.
do have
And
a
if you
wild
finish
card
Legacy Path,
point
you get
as
a
well,
golden
so
age card you can
can
select.
still use
Right.
it.
So we'll see that when we
Oh, yeah,
get down to
Golden
the
Age too.
economic choices.
Well,
And this
okay,
card
yes.
here, I believe, is from our crisis, if I'm not mistaken. So what crisis you interact with might determine some gameplay when you enter the next stage.
I see
Okay,
that one
so
about
if you pick
wonders.
certain
We're
bad
going to pick
stuff,
that.
you get,
Chat was
some
asking,
better.
will settling natural wonders in distant lands help the homeland?
Yes. So let me go ahead and select these here. Don't want to get too distracted. But yes, you do get bonuses for the wonders that you selected. We are going to move our capital here. I want to
Yes,
do
go
that.
to
Chalkis. So this will upgrade that to a city and make it our new capital, renamed Madrid. Let's confirm those. Oh, I have one more.
Use legacy points.
Got a wild card, yeah.
I'll do a cultural
Whichever you
point.
want to pick.
So the wonders that you settle on will benefit your homelands as well. If you settle on a wonder that is, let's say, culture or science yields, those are empire level yields and will just add to your science and culture progression as normal.
That's
if
nice.
you are settling on a wonder that's, say, giving food or production, and you have a town, then towns can send yields back to your other cities, so you'll be able to send those yields back to the cities on your homelands, or if you upgrade it to a city, obviously it will benefit that directly.
And we've got actually a really cool dev diary that just came out.
So just the basic stuff.
Economics feature lead Edward Zhang on our team wrote this incredible dev diary. Check it out on the Civ website, but it goes all into cities and towns in Civ 7, and it's a really great read.
And to get to the specific thing in that diary to look for that Carl was just talking about, look at the section on town specializations, because those determine how a town can take its yield and distribute it around the empire in different ways based on the specialization you choose.
Right.
So what I really want to do first is sort of take a deep dive into some of our cities and show how they're still look pretty Greek at the moment, but we'll get them
they'll become
switched
Spanish
over
later.
and go in with Exploration Age stuff in a minute. After the transition, like I said, your military units are going to be dispersed to garrison your various cities, and I had a lot of hoplites up on my border, boxing Xerxes in. I had some fortified mountain passes there, each with a hoplite guarding them. So we have a lot of those infantry units that have been upgraded from the hoplite into the tercio, which is the Spanish version of an infantry unit. I think if we can zoom in on Madrid, let's take a look at our brand new capital. So this is a Greek city. It was called Chalkis when it was our Greek city. We built the Oracle here. We built a Greek
I wonder if you're able
quarter.
to pick which city you can
the
turn
Parthenon.
into
You can
a,
see our Greek heritage is just sort of looming over our new Spanish city. But we're going to start making it Spanish. The population buildings filling in around the various urban tiles are starting to look Spanish now. We also have a bunch of buildings that have carried over from antiquity. So, for instance, if we look in the water here, we have a lighthouse and a pier there, and those are from antiquity. The antiquity buildings are not going to be as strong here in the Exploration Age. They lose their adjacency bonuses, but they provide their basic yield effects.
Right. All right, let's jump into choosing some civics. We want to start advancing down these new legacy paths. And like you said before, those do change from age to age. So let's talk a little bit about what we might want to do with a culture when we see that we are being recommended piety as our culture path here. And that's because it has a temple. So you want to talk a little bit about temples and how that works?
Okay, so actually I think let's pop open the legacy path screen up of the progress, and the first one we come to is culture anyways. So the first objective
build a temple and establish a religion
is going to be to collect relics. Now, how do you get relics? Where do they come from? They're part of our new religion system, and they are rewards that you get from spreading your religion around the world. There's a lot of changes to the way religion works compared to Civ 5 and Civ 6.
I do notice the time.
The number one
change
is that every player can start a religion.
Yeah,
and there's no longer that race to, oh my god, I gotta get a religion quick or I'm gonna get locked out. You don't have to worry about that anymore. So every player gets to start one. They're going to get a holy city. That holy city is protected from being converted by other players.
So you also can never lose your religion.
Correct. But you can certainly be diminished, and the AI we'll see is pretty aggressive about spreading its religion.
Absolutely.
And so you have to focus on it. And like religion systems in previous games, there are different sets of beliefs that you choose. We'll get to that once we have unlocked a religion, and the requirement there is to research piety, get the temple unlocked. We'll probably buy a temple with gold so that we can get that gameplay going as fast as we can, and we'll explain it in more depth as we get there.
Do you want to go over these others, or should we return to some gameplay?
Let's go back to some gameplay, and then we'll talk about. Well, I want you to definitely get those ships moving, and then we can talk about some gameplay based on that.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna start building a settler here because we do want to settle new towns in the distant lands. So I'll build that now so that we can move it over. But you talked about getting ships out, so I'm gonna go ahead and purchase a large amount of gold here. So we're gonna purchase a ship, a cog in Athens here. We do have one for free in our capital at the start of the age. Oops,
100 to 200.
I selected it for production. We want to switch to the purchase menu, and I will buy the cog. There it is. We have one in our capital, Madrid, new capital of Madrid. But Athens is a little bit higher up here and has some great coastal access with this navigable river, so that will let us sail out from there. And I'm also going to come back down here, and we'll take the cog that we get in our capital, and we'll move it.
I just love this bay that Madrid is situated on. It's got one navigable river tile that opens up into this basically lake that we've put our lighthouse.
And I love that it keeps going up to Sparta too. That's really cool.
And that volcano
erupted
so many times in antiquity. I actually gave
up
on
trying to
keep that iron mine
does it improve your stuff?
It just was getting demolished over and over again by the volcano.
But the yields,
the
yields are so good.
The yields were just spilling into those river valleys. It was pretty fabulous.
I also want to shout out really quickly. You can kind of see as you transition from antiquity to exploration, your relationships with the players maintain slightly, right? We had a couple questions from chat, I think, asking about whether you're at war with a player in the previous age. Does that still carry over, for example?
So the wars are ended. I mean, all the empires are being disrupted, and there's probably a period of decades or maybe even hundreds of years between one age and the next. So there's no active war that continues over. But Civ leaders live a long time. Civ leaders are hard to get to go away, and Civ leaders remember. And so Carl can go and look at some of the relationships we have here, and our two friends from antiquity, Ashoka and Hatshepsut, are still very friendly with us. Maybe not quite as friendly as they were before when they were allies, but they're definitely trending on that side of things. And Xerxes is still pretty mad at us.
Right. So we've got Xerxes to contend with, and then there are some, we'll get to them, but some other players maybe in the distant lands that will be introduced to.
Other people.
Let's take a quick look at what Xerxes did. Since he's hostile with us, we want to be aware of what's happening here. I also noticed that you didn't build any walls in many of your cities. You have some in Sparta here, but now that we are in exploration, those walls aren't present, and walls actually evolve into a new
I have
type.
a good explanation for this. If we go up to Thebes in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that there were all these mountains along my border with Xerxes, and what I wanted to do was put military units in the where the silk resources and that mountain gap right next to the lake, and then I fortified them in place.
And it was a beautiful fortification
so
line.
I had
there.
a little Maginot line kind of going there.
or Thermopylae.
Yes, exactly. I guess that's more period appropriate.
Yes, it is.
So I'm also seeing that.
So, anyways,
of course,
Xerxes was bottled in very
Adria
nicely, but
picked,
now I
Chola.
agree. If he comes at us from the north, we don't have any fortifications in place. And what is he doing in terms of what empire he moved forward?
I think we have to advance the turn in order to see what his legacy choices were, because those occur on the first turn.
Right,
so we'll check back in with him. But we'll go ahead and pick our social policies here. So as you were talking about those reset, our government will reset. We do have to pick from our traditions only. We have no, because we've done no civics here, we have no exploration
and we reset
to
two
policies
social
to pick
policies.
from, only our Greek traditions. So we'll go ahead and slot some of these in.
That is going to be
get
a little bit
Xenia in to befriend independence that we might come across. And let's go ahead and do some endeavor potential here.
And Kappa from chat asks, does each civ have unique policies?
Yes. Every single civ has unique traditions that they're able to unlock over the course of an age, and then those will still be present in exploration, and then even in modern as you continue to progress. So you're able to layer all of those things together.
And remember, the unique civic tree. Imagine the civics tree from a previous civic game like Civ 6. There's a small new branch of it with anywhere from 2 to 4 nodes that represents those unique civics. You know, for Greece before, for Spain now. We'll be diving in and picking some of those in just a minute. But that's where the traditions get unlocked. So you have to make a decision in terms of your culture. Do you invest it in sort of your own uniqueness, or do you get some of those things that push you towards the end of the civics tree that everyone's sharing? That's a hard decision sometimes, but the really powerful stuff typically is in your unique tree, so you don't want to sleep on doing that. Right. But we, in order to get a religion going, we have to invest in the generic civic policy. So actually, we're not in our unique tree quite yet.
The last thing we have to do here is pick those leader attributes that we unlocked as part of our legacies. One thing that's really interesting about leader attributes is they persist as you progress across the ages. So we do have some bonuses here from what we've unlocked in antiquity, and these are carrying forward with us. So as we acquire more points, whether it's through something that happens in an age like these bonuses here, or through the legacy cards that we picked, we're able to continue to level up our leader and add more things to them as we continue through the game.
So great works. We have settlements for each resource.
Some of these points here.
Okay.
This seems really good. Get some free science here.
And just as another reminder, the types of points that you've accumulated in each age are keyed towards the attributes that you'll see mentioned for your civ and leader selection.
Staff, so, 1 more point.
Like a leader have 2 different lists. For instance, Isabella is an expansionist leader. So every age that you play as Isabella, you'll keep getting expansionist attributes. But Spain brings in different attributes to the mix, so your choice of civilization also factors into
and production
which of those attribute
cavalry
points you
naval.
get to spend.
So if you were to pick a civ and a leader that had that kind of expansionist synergy, then you would just be raking in the points.
And then you can invest in the legacy path that also rewards expansionist points. And so, absolutely, if your strategy is to try to push as deep into those attribute trees as possible,
like theocracy.
That works very well.
Right.
If I remember.
All right, it looks like we're disembarking here.
Yeah, finally starting to sail out here. And the tech that I picked for us to research is cartography, which mentions something about sailing into deep ocean. Can you talk a little bit about that while I continue?
Okay, so we're looking at our cogs. They are still in shallow water along the coast, but there's some darker blue deep water just ahead of them. So if you remember the new movement system that we talked about in some of the earliest live streams that's different in Civ 6, it's all based on terrain being a turn-ending blockage to your movement. And so you move as many movement points as you have, and then when you hit any type of obstacle that is
I assume deep water is an obstacle.
Your movement is stopped. And at the beginning of the exploration age, ocean is treated the same way. Ocean is turn-ending terrain. It's also dangerous, and every turn you end in the ocean, you take some damage.
Ouch.
Okay.
So you can make it across the ocean in most cases, you know, if you're not careful and you sail through with lots of deep ocean, you may not even make it to the other end. But I think in our situations here, you'll probably make it. Now, one thing that we do in map generation is we give you a little help to get across the seas. Because if you think about how any of those early explorers worked,
over there
were islands off
most,
the coast, and as they started proceeding out into the Atlantic, the first thing that the Spanish did is they're like, whoa, the Canary Islands are here. We're going to settle here, and that'll be a great base for us to move on. So the Canary Islands, the Cape Verde Islands, Madeira, the Azores, all those became highly significant bases for the European powers to sail west and get to the New World. And we represent that. Carl just revealed that he's come up on a sort of passageway where he's going to have to go over a deep ocean tile, but there looks like there's an island there, and that's sort of along the lines of those historical islands. So in most of our map types, not all of our map types, but in this particular Terra Incognita map type, it does represent the same type of situation that they faced when they were first doing New World exploration, where you will find islands at some density. It'll depend on the map generation.
We'll see. Maybe this is an actual
and I imagine if you
big land,
tweak the
maybe
settings to
not.
have a
Doesn't
larger
look like
map
it.
too, then you're going to be facing more of those rough seas.
Yes, you could have those big blocks where you have just 4 or 5 tiles to go across before you find anything, and you're taking damage every turn, and you may not make it.
Right.
We can see that our settler actually was not even able to enter open ocean yet, and that's what cartography is going to do for us. It will unlock the ability for these units to then also sail across.
And we got a question from chat from the Hyatt, who asks, when you bring your founder to a distant land, is the initial founder a town or a city?
Okay, so we'll be very clear about our terminology, just to be very precise. The founder is your settler unit only at the beginning of antiquity, when you have
or if you do an advanced start.
Right. Well, a lot of the advanced
Actually,
starts
no, you're right. And it is only antiquity. You're right.
have
You're
your initial town place, so it's pretty much the only in antiquity. Every other unit you use to create new settlements is called a settler. And every settlement, when it first is created by a settler, starts as a town. It will have to then be upgraded into a city at a gold expenditure.
And that remains true for distant lands too, regardless.
Right. It does.
I would have been surprised if
anytime here, I
rules were
think it's
different.
about time to us to talk about why we're so focused on the distant lands. And so if you want to start showing some more of those legacy paths.
There's one thing I'm going to jump in with before we do. I actually just selected to place this bazaar on top of a building that we already have. We had a market and a garden right here. So I am replacing the garden with a bazaar, and this is what's called overbuilding. This is something that's unique to a new age when you've played a previous one.
So there was a thing
or
with
in this case, actually doing an advanced start does apply here as well.
Curious.
What happens is you do, like you said, you lose all of your adjacency bonuses on your antiquity buildings. They're still present. They're still providing you some yield. We can see in this case I'm getting 2 gold from the market, but all of the adjacencies that it had went away. So in order for me to maximize my city tiles now, I want to replace these previous age buildings with the new ones. So I'm building this bazaar on top of this, and it will get adjacencies as well as a higher base yield, and it will be a much more powerful urban district or quarter once it's finished as a result.
And this is a great example. You can see that this is like the waterfront for our capital city. This is going to be a great place for all those markets and anyone selling their wares coming in from goods. So that's why we've chosen the adjacency bonus of coastal tiles, given adjacency to all of the gold-based buildings.
Right.
And that's also why in the previous age this was a great place to put a market.
Hopefully.
But now we're going to upgrade it to basically the new age building. It's still going to be in that same sort of classification of buildings of the gold producing buildings, but we want that bazaar because the bazaar is going to turn on those adjacency bonuses for us. So what you end up seeing is players do have a lot of choice over how to develop their city and which 2 buildings they combine where.
Yeah.
But you'll find there are patterns to the way the adjacency bonuses work. You have these adjacencies that come from coast or river that encourage the mercantile trade. We have a really interesting switch up to the what adjacency promotes science. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
So
Actually.
science adjacencies come from resources now?
Yes.
So it's
you mean from Civ 6?
From Civ 6.
I was like, is there? I have been out on paternity leave, and we said it earlier.
No, I didn't change anything.
No, from Civ 6. Yes, in Civ 6, you got science adjacency from reefs. With Gathering Storm, you got it from geothermal vents, and then mountains. And now it's from resources. So science and production buildings both get adjacency. Their respective building adjacency from resources, and so you want to place those buildings next to as many resources as possible. So here we can see we have a library and a blacksmith that was adjacent to 2 resources here for a plus
Because you
2
want to
bonus.
be able to, you want to subject to
really quick before we stray too far from overbuilding, we do have a question from Lunar Soul Gaming who asks, can you overbuild an ageless building?
That is a fantastic question.
Ooh,
So
that
there's
is a good
actually
question.
2 types of buildings that cannot be overbuilt. One of those is ageless. Ageless means that once that building has been placed, its effects continue to persist regardless or continue to matter regardless of the age. So things like the Civ Unique buildings, the Parthenon and the Odeon, those are ageless. Once they're placed,
I think
we cannot
Granary
build
was also
over
ageless
those.
as well.
So this Greek quarter that we have
If I
here,
remember correctly.
the Acropolis is going to stay here throughout exploration, throughout modern. We will always have these buildings. We can never replace them. The second type is persistent, and those are on our warehouse buildings, like the granary here. Persistent is very similar to ageless in that you cannot overbuild it, and its bonuses continue to matter. However, persistent buildings can continue to be built in future ages. So if we do not have a granary in a settlement, we can still make a granary in a settlement because the granary has that persistent tag.
Got it.
And talking about the legacies, the last part of this is that this matters with our specialist system. Specialists that you place onto the map are still there once you transition, but what specialists do is they boost the adjacencies of the buildings in that tile. All of those go away from the antiquity buildings, so we want to place buildings into tiles where we might already have specialists to try to boost those again.
So we gotta pay
and that's
attention
going
to
to matter
where you
for
place
our
your
science
persistent
legacy
and
path. So
ageless
now
stuff.
we'll do that and jump back in here.
So let's talk about the science legacy path. We'll switch over to that. So the science legacy path is all about building super powerful tiles within your
urban
cities.
district outside of city
So this
centers.
adjacency game that we've talked about, this overbuilding game that we've been talking about, it is the path to enlightenment, so to speak. This goal that people can see here, if they're looking right under the word enlightenment, you can see you actually have to get all the way up to 40 total yields from a tile, which seems quite incredible, quite high. You know, this is normal gameplay. How am I going to, normally Civ 6, you only saw yields like that, maybe around a Natural Wonder, or Vampire Castle, or any crazy situation. But this is actually pretty normal gameplay here in the Exploration Age, that you can get a few tiles in your cities up to this level.
At the end of the age.
At the end of the age,
40 total
when you
yields
can place,
each, by the
right
way.
now we're limited to 1 specialist per tile. We unlock higher specialist caps as we go through the age. We have to get our adjacency buildings, so buildings from this age, put in place. We'll want to stack 2 of them in the tile, and both of them have strong adjacencies. And then each specialist we put down on top of that helps both of those buildings get better and better adjacencies. And then you'll also see in our civics tree,
they do end up
there
taking
are
some kind of
civics
break,
that
I
temporarily
will try
boost
to,
adjacency bonuses.
do ads so that you guys
or
won't get
certain
screwed
types of
because,
buildings. And that's how you can finally get all the way up to 40.
They realized
total
they were
yield.
going to stream it this long.
Do we want to do
I mean, it's
something
exploration.
Yeah, let's go ahead and
It's
finish
a
off
big,
the
it's a big
legacy
topic.
So you're
path.
talking about distant lands. We'll go ahead and jump into economic here.
Okay, the economic victory is all about bringing back those exotic goods from distant lands. So we were talking about map generation, about how the map on the other side of the world can get differently generated from the homeland.
Differently.
But what also can happen on the other side of the world is new resources that only occur there will show up in those lands that we never had access to in the homelands. There are changes to a whole bunch of resources as we go across a transition. Some of them become
I'm still
obsolete.
curious about how,
we get some new ones like Niter have appeared on
how
the map. We can
multiplayer's
see
gonna
that
work.
when we go back to the map. But
Let's
the
say you have a
most
lot of
important
people,
resources are those
you
ones that
start
are
in the
so
antiquity
exotic. They're greatly desired back at home.
Are there gonna be
and
people in, like,
we can
different,
cash them in for amazing profits when we get them
distant
back home.
lands?
And those
Or is it
resources,
everyone's
we'll
still gonna
see
be,
some
like,
examples
Pangea
of
style,
them,
still in the
are what we call treasure
antiquity
resources.
age, like everyone.
And when you
in
settle
Pangea
near a
land.
treasure resource, and set up a settlement there that has all the naval facilities, the docks and stuff that it needs, and you get to the shipbuilding technology, which is about halfway through the technology tree, all of a sudden you start to produce treasure fleets. And treasure fleets are units that are generated automatically by these settlements, have to be protected on their way home, but if you get them home, you can cash them in for points towards this legacy points and
the
just
direction
gold
of
that
it
you can
is
spend
that
on whatever.
Yeah.
So it's possible one of our enemies, like Xerxes, may hop in there and try and take a treasure fleet?
Absolutely. And, I have alluded to the fact we've had some crazy naval battles in some of our multiplayer games.
In a sense.
You know, when the development team's been testing all this out, treasure fleets are quite interesting in multiplayer.
You remove the tedium of the stuff that's
you
like
grab one,
obvious,
you attack it, you steal it, you can take it home, cash it
It's
in
like
for
with
your
builders, there's
victory
no
points, your gold, and that
I
other
actually kinda
player
like that.
works them. They're also worth a variable amount of points based on how many treasures
Because they were
were
extremely
around that
important in
settlement.
2006.
So you might attack one
But
you don't know. Is this
it
thing
was very
loaded with
tedious
a
to
ton of
use.
gold, or just
You had to move them.
a smallish amount?
You had to go to
but then
specific
you capture it,
places
find
that
out.
you want
Yeah,
to.
you can't tell until you take it. And this is unique gameplay to this unit because unlike previous iterations of Civ, we don't have the ability to capture units. Like a settler, if you attack a settler, it will destroy it. You can't capture that unit anymore.
Okay.
Treasure fleets are the only type of
cannot
unit that you're actually able to capture from other players and then use yourself.
But
It
you can
converts to
still
your
steal
unit and you're able to
treasure
take it
fleets
back.
here, though.
They can trade hands multiple times. Piracy was ripe throughout history. It was constant in antiquity and still has some cases today. But this was sort of the golden age of piracy in multiple different places in the world.
Yeah, the golden
and
age of piracy.
You can go sort of be a pirate yourself and steal treasure fleets from other players and capitalize on that.
And actually, let's hold off on the military one for just a second.
Sure.
Go back to the map and let's look at our continent lens. We may want to look at it again a little bit later when we've revealed a little bit more of the map. But the continent lens is an interesting tool for us to kind of look at the geography of the world. It's similar to the continent lens that we had in Civ 6, where there's a color coding of each continent. You can see where they start and they end. And we actually have found some of the offshore islands that are still part of our
these are
home
not
continent
this is
of
not
Atlantica here,
determining
but we
distant
haven't
lines.
actually reached the far distant continents. So what you see from the continent lens is that there are different availabilities for these treasure resources I've been talking about based on sort of how far across the map you have pushed. In these islands nearby our homeland, you can encounter some treasure resources. So don't dismiss those. Those can be very useful sources of them. But it's over on the other continents where they're going to be filled with treasure resources all around, and you'll be able to find quite a few of them. So we'll go back to the continent lens later, and one of the cool things about it is it keeps track of the number of continent lenses that you found. So if you're trying to where did I see that really cool sugar resource or something that's going to give me, or spices or whatever it was, that will help you remember where those are.
Right. Seems like there's a real prerogative to get over to distant lands.
And we haven't even talked about the fourth legacy path, which is also important for that as well.
That did get +1 food though.
Flood happening
here. I did see +1 food.
Another question from chat: can we connect defensive combat units to the treasure fleets?
So,
like an escort.
The attachment of units together, like was possible in Civ 6, sort of works through the commanders right now, and the commanders, can have units included in their army. We'll see in a second that Spain has a really good advantage in doing this, so they can actually, have even more units traveling with a commander. But that would be how you would do it if you wanted to hook in a treasure fleet.
You could protect them essentially, right?
Farming town. They still
take 2 turns of rough seas damage here to get across.
So an interesting thing is in previous Civ games, naval units had to return to home waters in order to heal, and that was sort of particularly cumbersome with our new system where ocean was causing damage to you each turn. So we've made a change there. Basically, any of these exploration age ships can stop on a coastal tile and spend a whole turn there refitting, cutting down some more trees and patching up their sides of the ship where it's taken damage, getting some new tar and pitch to fill in those holes that they might have accumulated that are leaking. And so you can actually heal as you're moving across. It's going to slow you down, but that is definitely an option as you're exploring is take a few turns, rest back up at one of these islands that's midway across the ocean, and then push forward and see what you can find. Push forward.
As long as you can get back to shallow water.
Yeah.
Oh, so we got a natural wonder here.
Yes, we do. So this is Thera, which is island in the Greek Aegean.
I remember I saw this one.
I should say. And as Isabella, this is really good for us. So this is now considered distant lands. So we get to double the gold that we acquire from this. So we got 600 gold from revealing this. And this wonder provides
you don't have to be the
6
first.
Culture and 3 happiness on each of these tiles.
Isabella,
so if we settle here as
don't
Isabella,
have to be the first
we're going to get 12 culture and 6 happiness.
Put that boat down there.
So we're gonna reveal this. Yeah. Well, I've got a settler up here.
You're gonna try to reroute.
Let's reroute the settler. We still have 4 turns so we can move it across. We've got time to move it down.
Okay.
Why not just
I've got a
make another
question
settler,
from White and
guys?
Nerdy TV. Great username. Does cartography or other text increase speed through devotion?
So cartography does not, but we'll see that one of those Spanish bonuses that we were talking about before does. And we're gonna, later in the stream, we'll get to one way to speed up
a
your
new
ship.
ship.
We met somebody.
Yes.
Oh. I have Confucius.
So we have tons of influence available. I think we're saving this to try to influence any independent powers we come across, particularly having our Greek background and traditions to be able to use. But I think we've got 20 to spare on a friendly
I was
here.
about to say you surely could make friends with Confucius.
For now, we'll be friendly with Confucius.
Sure.
Now
For
notice
now,
the
could
Confucius
be his.
is a 5th leader. We never met Confucius at all during antiquity. He must have his capital somewhere over in the distant lands. And you can see that the AI knows how important scouting and going out over the seas
I sure hope so.
all the gameplay in this exploration age, because we sailed halfway across the ocean. We were around one of these islands, and the AI has come out and met us out there.
Oh no.
Confucius is the Ming civilization. I don't think we've talked about what exploration age civs the other leaders have chosen. So
you're right. Let's come back to that. We did have to advance the turn to see that. So we have Xerxes up here, who was Persia, but this was their capital, and it no longer has that big star on it. So they must have also selected to move their capital just like we did, and they only had one other settlement. It looks like they've switched to Mongolia. So that's a little scary. They might try to come back.
So we had all the fortifications up on the northern border, worried about Xerxes last time. Now look at that. There were like 3 road tiles right between his city and our capital.
We just revealed Mongolia too, and definitely kind of a scary civ to have not be friendly with you in the game.
And this is one reason I wanted to talk about the 4th legacy path after we had shown that Xerxes was in the game as Mongolia, because Mongolia has a very unique way to approach that legacy path, and
you want to dive into that now?
Let's dive into that now.
Sounds good.
Oh.
So the military victory path is called Non-Sufficit Orbis. We revealed this name when we revealed Mongolia because they have a special way they approach this. But for a normal player, this is all about getting settlements down, sort of like the Pax victory was in antiquity. You're still going for 12 points, just like you were in antiquity. But now you get 1 point only if that settlement is in the distant lands.
Yeah.
You can still like settle.
You can multiply the points from it if it's a conquered settlement,
or if it follows your
a
religion.
Settlement over in the distant lands that's following your religion.
So that makes religion matter for
and
2
quadrupled
of these
if both apply.
Obviously, it matters for the culture one where we're accumulating the relics, but now
because you know with
and I also
spreading
think
religion to
distant
other people,
lands
that's kind of like aggressive. So I guess I like this change. Or not change. I like this.
Here for the military one as well.
Having other settlements
so how's Mongolia different?
Follow your religion.
Mongolia, I think, can
Count
actually
for this,
look at
actually
his leader abilities and read those out, so we make sure that everyone knows how to get to that information. So
You capture the opposing settlement, gain the strongest cavalry
gain 1
unit.
point towards the non-sufficient
Minus
focus
50%
legacy path
progression
for
point
controlled
training
settlements
settlers,
in the
though.
distant lands,
And you get 1
conquered
point
settlements in the
for
homelands.
control settlements in distant lands and
notice
conquer settlements in the
Mongolia
homelands.
is allowed to get points for settlements in the homelands.
Right.
So
No one else
gets more
is.
points
for us.
for
The only way we
settling
can, as Spain, get points is we have to do things over on the other side of the
or
world.
controlling a
He
settlement
can just
in
roll
distant
over his
lands.
home continent and be
And-
racking up points while he's doing it.
And just
So
kill
it's
the people
a very
in the
different
homeland.
approach. And
we do also have this part here about controlled settlements in distant lands. So he still gets a point if he has a distant land settlement, whether he founded it or if he conquered it, but he doesn't get those bonus points for conquering it in distant lands or for having it converted to his religion, just for having the settlement.
Right, just always 1 point at a time for
And
Mongolia.
the distinction between controlled versus conquered, just being controlled, you founded or settled.
Or conquered.
Right.
Both
so,
of those.
So if we look at the
I
map
see.
here, he's got 3 settlements down there, but you'll see he has no progress towards this legacy path right now, because those were the ones he started
It's
the
not
age
distant
with.
lands.
Now, if he builds a huge cavalry army and starts rolling over the map, boom, he's starting to
you'll get
rack up
points.
points.
Right.
And so if you like that kind of gameplay, and maybe, not everyone's going to love the naval gameplay of exploration. I'll be a little bit sad about that because that's my favorite. But if there are players that don't like it as much as I do, they can go, and Mongolia is an awesome choice.
I am one of those people.
We have some
so
other civilizations.
This is why
later in
we're
the exploration age that
exactly
also
because
are not
I am
as
one of those
focused,
people.
on the sort of exploration gameplay as Spain is.
I'm one of those
but we'll talk
people
about
if
that a little
I'm
later.
not playing coastal.
So we have a temple
initially.
available.
So if I was
So I think
coastal
we
and
should just go ahead and
antiquity
purchase this. We still have
I
tons
would
of
be fine
gold. We
with
just
it.
got
If I
600
wasn't.
gold from discovering that natural wonder.
That's what I'm
So we
concerned
can
about.
immediately
This
put
is-
that into
this is the part
purchasing
I'm concerned
a
about.
temple. Let's
But I
find
believe
a good
Greece is
spot
not
for it.
inherently coastal, so curious about
It likes
other
mountains. So
You
I could be
also
wrong, maybe they
remember
coastal.
that every single building gets
But we'll see.
adjacencies
There could be
from
other
wonders. And I
civs
built
that
the
can do
Hanging
that.
Gardens here next to Athens Acropolis. We have the Colossus
His
off
temple
the
gives
coast. We have
happiness and helps you
Angkor
find the
Wat, I
religion.
think, or
up here.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 spots that are 6s. So we do want to take a look at what we'll be replacing and what other adjacencies we have around us.
Okay.
There's a
built
resource
the blacksmith, that
here
one
and
we built
here, so that's
for
good for this still being a
library.
science and production spot.
Right.
I think we put it
We
right
already
here. You
replaced
have
one.
two.
Shadow of the Hanging Gardens.
You have two wonders here.
Yep.
I think that's probably a pretty good placement for it.
Sounds like
I prefer
where
that
I'd want to go to temple.
as well.
Yeah. So we've purchased
for
a
baby.
temple here. Let's zoom
Oh, no,
in. We
we
can see the temple right
purchased it.
here.
Okay. So
And
now I just replaced
that
the body
allows
magistrate.
us
Okay.
to found a religion. So let's go ahead and open that up.
Okay.
So here we do have a whole bunch of religions available. We don't see any
Can we
custom
make
ones,
our
but those
own?
are coming.
Those are on the way. We've been testing a prototype version of that. It just wasn't quite ready for the build today.
Sure. We'll go ahead and do
Okay.
Catholicism. That seems pretty historically accurate. So we're going to
Okay, yeah,
pick that
Spain.
and
Makes
confirm,
sense.
and now we get to add our beliefs. So we get an enhancer belief and a founder belief, and it looks like we can unlock
more
additional
founders and you
belief
get
slots
reliquary
through
belief.
gameplay as we continue to
When you
progress.
get
And players
Reformation.
shouldn't get too locked into exactly how this is set up. This is something we're doing a little bit of a balance pass on right now. I think
Okay.
before the game releases, the
So
exact
don't worry about the
order
numbers for now.
And where you unlock these
Worry about
beliefs
the
may
concept.
may change before we ship the
Those
game.
numbers can change.
But the enhancer and the founder beliefs are very similar to what you would remember from Civ 6, where an enhancer belief is a way that your religion spreads in a unique, stronger fashion than the other religions in the game. So I think when I played through this game, I chose the enhancer belief called conversion, the very top one.
We found towns
which
start with a
lets
religion
any
in place.
town I settle in the distant lands start with my religion in place.
That seems pretty
The
good.
reason I did that is I'm playing as Spain. I know I'm going to make a big distant land push.
Right.
It's going to be a lot simpler if boom.
Yeah, so conversion's
all
good
those
for
things
if you
are Catholic
wanna
right off the bat. I don't
place,
have to ferry missionaries over there. to
towns
get
in
that.
distant lands.
So you still have a missionary unit that can be used to convert
Stella Maris,
settlements. And I
good
believe you have to
for
have a temple in order to create
moving
them. So
them.
if you start with this in place in distant lands, you can then get a temple
coast.
and immediately
All naval
start
and
pumping out
embark units
missionaries
receive
over there without
movement.
having to go through the process of
realized
moving
that
them across
as well.
the ocean.
And when
So
we
it
get
also
to
helps with,
reliquary beliefs, there's a cool
war type
strategy
as
that
well.
you do that sort of builds right
Okay.
on that.
Sounds
I'm
good.
gonna.
We do
I
have
will
a
definitely
couple
go over
people
this.
asking in
I will
chat,
definitely go
can
over this.
multiple leaders
Reincarnation.
found the same religion or select the same
Tithe.
religion?
No, it's the same. That works the same as in our previous Civ 5 and Civ 6,
Desert
where
faith?
once I choose Catholicism, everyone else is going to have to
I
pick
feel
a
like
different
I'm seeing a
one,
lot of
just
stuff
we
that
don't want
says
the symbols to get too
from
confusing.
other
and the names to get
civilization
too
settlements.
confusing.
And the beliefs are the same way, just like with Pantheon.
Yeah,
so
other
those are first come,
Civ
first
7
served. You
other
want to
Civ
kind of
7.
rush to this if
Yeah.
possible, if you plan on playing a religious game.
Seems like
because
with
once you've selected a
religion,
belief, it goes away for all other players.
kind of want to.
What did you pick for your founder belief? And
to
just
go,
like in Civ 6, this is something that
kinda just
only
spread to other people.
you get for your religion when it's spread to other settlements.
So a lot of these founder beliefs
It could be
are
independent people. Though.
terrain-based,
You could
but I
send
didn't
this
know
to
a lot
other
about
independent
like
people.
the terrain in the distant
So
lands
that's
that
not
was going to be encountered.
bad
So
thing.
I typically,
But it does
in that
make the founder
situation,
beliefs
I will
feel
go for either
not
type
as
or
great.
interfaith dialogue.
I am always a fan of interfaith
And,
dialogue.
yeah, that
It's
sounds good.
fairly
Go for it.
fairly safe and science is
Science.
good no matter what.
Yeah, science.
So we'll confirm that, and there we go. We now have our holy city established here in Athens.
And you can see that there are two Catholic icons here. Everyone's going to say,
Yeah.
wow, that looks like a weird
One's a
bug.
holy
Why
city
did they
and
double
one
that
is,
up on the UI? That shouldn't be like that. But
shouldn't.
it's actually important. So if you remember
In my opinion, it probably
Civ 6's system, there was a whole
Holy
system
city,
of religious pressure, and it counted
and then
citizen
you
by citizen how many followers each religion had.
majority
It's
religion,
very
I should
cool in terms of like it's a simulation of religious pressure and thought spreading around the world. But we decided that was more than we needed for Civilization 7 when the primary age of religious gameplay was just going to be in the exploration age. So what we wanted to do is simplify that down a little bit. And now rather than tracking every single person, for a given settlement, we track the urban population and the rural population. So there basically are two data points. And if you convert both of those, then that city follows your religion and you get the bonuses that we've been talking about, like the tithe bonus or the stewardship bonus, all these types of things unlock when
I wonder
you
if it
have
has to
both
be
of those
majority,
lined up, both the rural and the urban
or
population in a settlement following that
Or if you
religion.
could just have people following your
It's
religion.
sort of even easier to convert
Curious.
a settlement for the very first time. So whenever a missionary goes to the settlement for the very first time and uses one of his charges to do a conversion action there, both the rural and the urban people all get excited about this new religion. And so for
Yeah,
the
makes
very
sense.
first time religious is being established in a settlement, you get both of those
Curious about
population
if
groups flocking to your manor.
religious
just with
stuff can
one
overlap,
conversion,
or beliefs
charge.
can
Very
overlap.
cool.
So,
between
Carl,
different
you found
religions.
something very interesting here.
I did. It looks like I've discovered some treasure resources. So here we have sugar, which creates treasure fleets when connected to a coastal settlement, and cocoa, which does the same thing. So here we have, looks like 4. This is dyes, which
That's
is
just dyes.
happiness. That is not a treasure resource. So 4 treasure resources right here. So if we settle
Like right
something up
between
here,
those two sugars
like
on the
right here,
same-
we can
Can you
start
settle
setting
on
those
top
up.
of the luxury
And
or the?
what
Yeah, can
would
you-
it take
I wonder if you can
other than
go
the
on top of
settlement
that.
for me to get those connected? It talks about connecting them.
So the basic requirement is you have to put down some type of naval building, and the first naval building we have is the fishing key. And the cool thing about your fishing key placement is we use that to sort of pick the spot where treasure fleets, once you start generating them, are
17,
going to
minus
come into
17.
play. And so that's a nice, you get to sort of make a tactical decision. Where do I want my very, susceptible to enemy capture type of units to be spawned? Maybe I want it in some protected harbor. Maybe I want it as close to my homeland as I possibly can. So we'll make a decision when we get that settlement up and going as to exactly where we're going to put the fishing key.
Right, that was
Which we just got access to cartography, so now
no.
our settler can enter
That
deep
ship's probably
ocean.
gonna die.
However, it still is locked to the same movement rules as our naval unit, so it can only move one tile at a time in deep ocean.
It's going to take damage.
And it will take damage at the end of the turn, so we have to be cautious moving across here.
And now you have 2 great places to go. Do you
I've got
go
2.
to
Yeah.
there, or do you go up
maybe
for the
right
treasure
here
resources?
and maybe right here? That's a very tough call. I think maybe we put here first and start getting sort of a naval base set
12
up
culture per turn
is
from
very
this.
good. So maybe we start up like a
The other-
naval base here to protect the rest of these locations.
The other important reason to do that is I'm lusting over these 4 treasure resources sitting there. That's just a fabulous sight. Especially, normally you'll find that when you get over the distant lands, it's a very lucky map generation to get that right there in the islands, not that far
I don't think
off
I
the
need
coast. But we do have to remember we have to proceed all the way to shipbuilding.
If I see
before
something
treasure fleets are
huge
gonna
in the
unlock.
bottom right,
and
I'll move myself.
we
again.
might want to pop up the
For
tech
now,
tree and just show people how deep shipbuilding is in here. So it's in the 3rd tier. We're going to have to finish astronomy, finish machinery, get heraldry, get feudalism, ignore all the temptations from the masteries along the way, and then we can finally get to shipbuilding. It's going to take us a while to get there. So we've got time to get a settler up and going and get that treasure generating island town up and going.
Sure. I see castles and heraldry and feudalism on here as well. So it seems like right now we're sort of in sort of a medieval period, not necessarily height of the Age of Sail kind of thing, and that's more towards the end of the tech tree here. But I think it's important to note that not all civilizations discovered distant lands at the same pace, right? You had oceanic civilizations in the Pacific that were discovering lands far earlier. You had Scandinavians that were discovering North America long before Christopher Columbus ever sailed. So even though it's perhaps a medieval period, it's not necessarily just your
I love the fact you're calling
European.
us out. We've met Confucius. Confucius is leading the Ming Empire. Ming was an absolute rock solid. We had to have them in exploration civ because of Zheng He, the admiral from the Ming, who actually created treasure fleets hundreds of years before the Spanish did, and sailed in, I think, starting in the 1420s. He started sending fleets out across the Indian Ocean. The treasure fleets that the Ming dynasty had are amazing, and they're like
So
4 or 5
immediate
times
relic,
the
or
size
+1
of
production on
any
specialist.
Western, galleon or anything like that. Just enormous vessels. And what's cool about the game is, just like with a lot of our units, we have culturally
I assume
unique
there's like a short-term
variants
versus
to them.
long-term.
So you'll
question
see
here.
the treasure fleet
Getting that
unit looks
reliquary
very different in the
could
game
help.
if you're playing
I don't
as
know what the
Ming
reliquary
Empire
does,
than if you're
but
playing
the
as
second
Spain.
one
Very cool.
is definitely a long-term one.
So just
you
make
have
sure
more
you know what
production
those look like,
specialists,
because when you're playing in
which is
multiplayer
huge.
and you're trying to
Right.
capture treasure fleets from anybody else,
Right.
want
So
to
it looks
find them.
It looks like we have a cool narrative moment.
Very cool
coming
narrative
up.
moment. Yeah, I definitely want to talk about this. So what I just did
I
is
feel like
I
I'm very
selected to
much
build
more
a
inclined
temple
to
in our
do
new
number
capital
two.
of Madrid.
I
so
don't
we
know
can
how
get some
good a
religion
reliquary
up and
is.
going there. In doing so, I selected to overbuild the altar, which is the religious building from antiquity. I felt like that was a pretty appropriate replacement. And we get a narrative event for selecting to overbuild our altar here. So workers have stopped to gather and stare within the recesses of a hollowed out altar. The team has unearthed a once forgotten golden relic. So this is because I am overbuilding explicitly, and it offers some really interesting choices here. So if we construct a reliquary to keep the relic, we get a relic. And that goes towards our culture victory without us having to do anything religious to get it. Or we can melt the relic into coins to fund the construction and get +1 production on specialists. And this is a permanent bonus.
Yeah, that's permanent.
Amazingly good.
That's
every
why-
specialist
that's
for the
why I'm
rest of the
very much
age.
inclined to
Never
pick
even
number
seen
2.
this
It's
narrative
so
That's just-
strong.
It's so strong.
But both of these are really, really good for different victories. So this is really good for the culture victory. This, as we were talking about, you need specialists and high yields in order to get the science victory.
that is good for science.
This would go a long way for that.
I feel like this.
What do you
this
think?
is just good in
What
general
should we
because it's
pick here? Do
production.
you want
right?
culture
Production
or
is just good in
science?
general.
I didn't get
I'm
this
very
when I
well
played
inclined to
through
pick
here.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
pretty
haven't
cool.
had to make this
You
decision.
didn't,
You
that's
can-
because you didn't select
they
to
said you
overbuild
could-
your
No,
altar
I-
with the temple. But
reliquaries
even
do
if you do
religious
that, it's not. I
feats.
don't think this is a
No,
guaranteed
so-
thing.
Right.
It changes each
the
time.
way our narrative system works is stories get loaded into the game, sort of a random generation process. So you'll encounter them in some playthroughs, you won't encounter them in others.
I feel like
there
I'm
are sort of
still a little bit,
hidden triggers to, it was
like I'm
an exact
offside
requirement.
here.
You had to overbuild a temple to get this story, so you may not hit those. So we've loaded this game with several thousand stories like this.
There's so many. There's so many.
The narrative team has been working endless hours to get all these stories in. Lots of them are
Hopefully have,
unique. We'll get to
more,
conquistadors later in the game.
They have some stories.
have
and,
unique
calibrated.
stories just related to them.
Because I was looking.
But here's one that
in the
any
center.
player could get if they happen
looked
to
like I was
overbuild
looking
an
to the-
altar in the
Or
exploration.
I was looking
age.
to the left, but it
you know,
looked like
if
I
it
was
happens
looking
to be rolled into
straight.
to the collection of
Which is
stories
not
that's
correct.
available in this particular playthrough.
Do we want to go
What
ahead?
if you just pick number one?
It is a tough
so
choice.
like-
You want to go ahead and pick the relic, and then we'll take a look at the what the
let's do
relic
that for now.
looks
I
like.
think-
I assume
that's,
they're going to pick the
gonna
relic,
be
just
more
content, right?
immediate.
So we'll pick that, and relics do have yields. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that.
That's
that
what I
relic
wanna
we
see. I
just
wanna
got.
see the yields.
We got one somewhere else. I think maybe from. Did we
Medicine
convert
bag.
something? I don't know.
Culture
We
I
got
think
it from
there
something.
is one on.
Oh, is it from a civic?
Yeah.
Okay, we may have gotten it from
Okay.
a civic.
There's several
Oh,
of the
from
civic.
piety.
Right.
It's from piety. So when you unlock the piety civic, you get a relic immediately. We can see these provide 2 culture and 2 happiness. And that applies only, just like with codices in antiquity, this applies only when they're slotted. So right now they're not giving us anything, but we can put these into the palace, and then the
Would be
temple
nice
has
if we
one
knew,
slot.
like, we had
and so
any,
we are able to start getting
anything
those
that's,
yields once we equip them. So we'll go ahead and put
Not there. So
each of these into
if we have empty slots,
great work slot here.
and when we have
Perfect amount of relics for a perfect amount of slots.
Indeed. And once we have the temple up in Madrid, we'll have
Everything's filled
another
out.
slot available too.
But,
And there are ways to increase the number of slots that you get.
Right.
So speaking of relics and religion, we did have a question from chat from Unknown Duck Robot who asks, do you keep your pantheon in the following ages?
Unfortunately, you do not.
no, unfortunate.
I don't know that we're talking about how religion carries forward beyond
I think we can
this.
say that there are echoes of religion in the modern age.
There you go.
So
That's a good way of putting it.
yes.
Modern age live stream to come.
Yes.
But for your
don't get
pantheon
to
from
pick my
antiquity,
pantheon.
those bonuses go away as
I
they are
believe you
replaced
still
by
do.
the
It's
organized
just you
religions that are
can't-
being
you don't.
really
Pantheons
emphasized
are
and
basically
spread during
become
this period of
irrelevant.
history. Not that they
the exploit
necessarily
I think
religions
that's what
weren't
they're
founded
saying.
earlier than this.
It's like
but
with their
this
main
is
mechanic
when they
of,
were
oh,
really spread
have the old stuff,
globally to
it becomes irrelevant.
across either your own civilization or
Right.
other civilizations
So-
in particular, and brought to
Right.
I think that's what
brought
they're
to
saying.
distant lands.
So
when they're
let's-
talking about that.
Let's keep discovering more of this.
You can still pick
distant
pantheons
land
in
if we
antiquity.
can.
Yeah, we'll
It's
get this
just-
settler down.
It doesn't carry
and
over to exploit.
see what that
unfortunately.
does. We want to get this.
Yeah, I want to unlock those yields there.
I don't know how
We've got
good
a
And I
the
want to-
pantheons are, so
We have
depending on
uncovered someone's
Confucius.
somewhere.
Oh, somebody's here.
There's the eastern edge of the Ming Empire.
This
I'm being
cog
real
is
risky
dead.
with this guy,
This
though. He's
cog
taking a
is
lot
dead.
of damage sailing
This
across. I
cog
didn't
is
stop to
dead.
heal.
Do you want to try to see if he'll give us open borders so you can come into his port?
Well, I think
still
we'll sail
open ocean.
straight here because this is still
Still
2 tiles. And if I go
ocean.
here, there might be some shallow
Yeah.
water that way.
that
let's
cog
sail down.
is for respectfully.
We've got somebody
That
asking,
cog is
how
free.
do distant lands work with different map types?
That's a great
Okay.
question.
Yeah, that
That's
cog
a-
is
that's a
definitely
really
super
fun
free. It had
question.
34 health.
So
and it lost 14 health.
there's a lot of details
So,
there. I'm
GGs
not
to
going to
that
try to
cog
go
over
through
there.
all of them,
It's gonna
but
die.
depending upon which map type you select, either the distant lands is going to be sort of a carbon copy of your homeland area, or it's going to be entirely different. So in this particular case, the Terra Incognita map was selected, which gives a nice large continent to begin with,
I'm also
and the
curious,
distant lands are
how
highly
they're
variable
going
and very
to,
different than your homeland. We have other types where
deal with
there's
color
what's called
blind
Continents
settings.
Plus, where it'll
'Cause
look
see,
like
a lot of
this,
stuff
and
is
you
like
know that the distant land area is also going to look
I'm not
similar.
sure what they're
We
gonna
have
do,
an archipelago map type
with, like,
where your
colorblind
homeland
stuff.
is a
I
bunch
assume
of
it's
islands.
just
sort of think of
brighter
Indonesia in
and,
real world.
darker
And the
color
distant lands is
to
also a bunch
denote
of islands.
which
so
ones
everyone's playing on sort of
have
the
more
same
yields for
type of
anyone who's, like,
playing
colorblind.
field, but it's very, very different than what we're seeing here in this
I
game.
love that map type.
There's
And
also like a shuffle map where you're not sure what your homeland's going to be.
Oh, no.
And, so
the map
basically we
Look,
will
it's also
tell you by the
looking
map
at
type what
not
you're going
to
to start
say
with.
local.
And some map types you can be guaranteed that the distant lands will look very similar, and some
I'm liking
ones
what
they
I'm
will
seeing
not.
so far.
Now these islands that we're exploring in the
Personally.
middle, those don't appear in
Also,
every map type as well.
thought
for
I
instance,
saw
we have
their
Continents
size
Plus,
per turn was
which
like
is
a
what we're playing
90.
right now. Those
No,
always
no.
do have
Never mind.
offshore
It might- it
islands
might
in
have
them,
been,
but there's also a continents map where there's
something
just
else.
a wider swath of ocean to get across,
that guy,
no
yeah.
islands to help
That
you
guy's
out.
dead.
It's going to be close enough you can make it, but
No,
kind of the
not close.
support that we're getting from these islands in the middle is kind of missing on those map types.
right.
What is that?
We have a discovery out here in the middle of the ocean.
Coastal
so we'll try
edifice.
to pick that
Oh.
up next turn.
That's
And
that's a
speaking
goodie
of
hut
islands
of the
too,
coast.
we have somebody asking how island cities work as well. So you have a little bit more of a
Science
tight
and
space to settle
food.
there.
It depends. So the islands that we're looking at here
Dang,
are
did I
very
also
tight.
just see a
We
lightning?
do not have a lot of land to put down your
Dang, that volcano
districts,
also
but
freaking had
some of
lightning.
them will have a lot more. So this island being a good example, you can't
As
build
a
on
guy who has
top
never
of
really
resources,
seen
but if
a
these
volcanic
resources weren't
eruption
here, there would be a good
personally,
number of tiles for us to build
I don't know
on.
if that's
And
accurate.
it might be a good excuse for a
but
town,
it
right?
does
Instead
look
of a
cool.
city and kind of
Right.
focus that in.
And then it also, that's, people are like, oh, I don't necessarily like coastal cities and those coastal buildings aren't that useful. Out on the islands, all those coastal buildings like the wharfs and the other things that we're going to be unlocking in this age become incredibly valuable. So you'll want to have, remember that an urban district isn't
Totally
always on land. Urban districts can be on
Dallas isn't
water. Any
urban.
any
Urban?
district, basically any tile
Dallas
that has a
isn't
building in
mature.
it is considered urban.
Right.
Yeah, they all have to connect back to the city center.
Oh,
So you have to
'cause,
figure out a way
urban,
to engineer it so that everything connects back.
Urban district,
but
right.
I love the buildings going out on
Right.
water because they let you do things like extend your
And now
city
we have
across
pearls,
the navigable
so we
river
can
to
send
the
that
other
to,
side, across a lake.
different place.
We have this really cool
Madrid.
example in our capital city of the navigable river inlet here. If we had settled like right on the end of that peninsula,
I'm curious about
we could have used a water building to get south and
to build
that,
across.
that would have
Which
been a
I've
great
done up
place
here.
for a science.
I've done up here with
three
Athens, and I've
resources.
Because you saw
across.
with that.
Yeah, so that's how
Those two
we have
tiles next to
North
the
Athens
volcano.
across the river.
Yeah, the
there.
iron.
Right,
Right
right.
there. That's ruined.
And
Wonder
I don't know
when
if
it gets
we've
fixed.
talked about
Because
this a
there's
lot,
no
but we have
builders, right?
bridges as buildings in the game, and bridges can go down on navigable rivers,
boosted, or at
and
least
they're a great
available
way to get your city
civic.
across to the other
Right.
side
Get
of the
more
navigable river.
So we have like another narrative event here with this.
We do. So this is a discovery that I've unlocked. So we can, unemployed sailors cluster around the docks of the port. There are too few ships, too little work, too much time. So I can choose to expand the port by spending 2 turns of gold, which is 220 gold, to get a boost to civic, which could be really good.
The
or I
fact
can
that
get
they said
200
specifically
gold. So either I'm
110
spending 200 gold to get culture, or I'm
It
gaining
costs you
200 gold.
400 gold to get
Makes
first
me
civic boost,
wonder.
basically.
Just 200. 240.
But you're losing the
Why
200
it's
Oh,
not
but I'm
based
losing
on-
this. I see what you're saying.
The opportunity
Yeah, the
cost.
opportunity cost. So what I think
And not-
I think we'll go for the civic boost. Honestly, we've
I
got
know.
tons of
Yeah.
gold
Current
available.
Gotta
It's
spend that
expensive, but
Well, I actually have plans for that gold. So
and what did we get boosted? We got.
I think we have to advance the turn to get the boost.
Yeah, that was at minus.
Oh,
100,
it's right here.
so-
You're right. Civics have been boosted. It
Yeah.
didn't actually
Oh,
tell
it
us. Let's look at the
So I
tree
assume
here.
that
So
two
it
turn
was
thing
not
was
this one.
minus 121.
It was economics. Look at this link.
Was that 110?
No, we were already
GPT.
there.
I think it might
Inspiration.
happen the next
I think it's
turn.
inspiration
Yeah,
because
okay.
it got.
So, anyways,
Reduced
let's
there.
look at our unique Spanish civics while we had that up and we're
Sure.
talking
Oh.
civics. So we were talking about how every
Council of the Indies,
civ
New
has
World
a
Riches, and Armada.
unique civic tree. You've created a bunch of these. Why don't you talk about how you kind of came up with the, how many nodes they should
So
have and
with
how
New
involved
Ri-
they should
New World
be?
Riches,
Sure.
you
Well,
did
that was
mastery.
that was an ongoing process. Trial and error, figuring out what worked, what
I
didn't work, what looked
assume
good, what felt
that would
good.
be,
The goal
getting Ellis
here
going
is
out
to
early.
have an interesting and engaging tree of approximately 3 to 4 civics.
So you have these
mastery is
relic
optional
slots.
for every
Okay.
single civilization,
like
and this is
religion.
where a lot of
You have
your
these in
unique
there?
content
Good.
unlocks. Not your unique
All
military
end users
unit;
need
those still
plus
come
two
from the
movement
tech
and
tree
barrage.
because those
Okay.
are typically replacements for other units. But this is where you get your traditions, your unique buildings, or
I
tile
forget if
improvements,
these,
and you can
if
get
the
access to
masteries
your
stay.
wonder. You can get it the normal
Or if
way
it's specifically
through text or civics,
only
but you
for
can
Expo.
also get it
This is
faster
typically
here.
a faster way.
I assume
And
only
we
Expo.
had the question before about movement bonuses. I think if you look under Armada,
Maybe I could
we
be wrong
can see
because,
some bonuses. The flotilla
because you see
promotion lets you pack
the
more
civics
units
are
into
also
the
with that,
Armada.
they
And
also
then
have
there's
that
a
same
mastery
shape
here
with
that
that
lets
little plus.
land units moving
Little
across
fat
to
plus.
establish settlements over across the oceans.
Right.
We're going to get more
Let's start
movement with
like
the
this.
And this
they have the same
changes for
icon.
every single civilization. So many of them have this format where it's sort of like one into two others. Some of them are 3 or 4 in a straight line. Some of them are much taller, and so it branches out into a
not
big
all of them
stack.
have masteries
Not
like
all
this
of them
one.
have masteries. The more culture a civ has, typically the more masteries or civics it has to unlock. not every case, but that is sort of a standard
Definitely
rule.
gonna be
But,
very analytical
the
about,
order
like,
of
each
how
and
you unlock
every
things here
civ.
is definitely a part of every civ's balance.
And I'm also
how
curious
quickly
about
you can
how,
access some of their more powerful things are part of that.
And that's something to keep in mind. I think people are getting a sense of
choose
this when they look at our Civ guides that are going
civs
up on the
in
website.
multiplayer. I
But
forgot how
one
they-
reason we're doing
how
Civ
they,
guides is
said they
Civs
were
are
gonna do
really
that.
deep now. They have a lot of things going on with
And if
them.
you just pick duplicates.
And you might look at the initial description of what's this Civ's ability, and it's a quick little one-line thing. For Spain, for instance, you want to bring up the Spanish ability so people can see what that looks like?
Sorry.
Yeah, and I think we might even want to
We
jump
can
ahead
see-
a little
see
bit.
that-
too.
We can, yeah. I'm going to do one more thing before we do here.
That the Siglo de Oro is the Spanish ability, so they get cheaper conversions from
I was
towns
hoping
to
that
cities,
the
especially
knot
if they're
cake
trying to create
that I
cities in the
made
distant
and ate,
lands to sort of establish that Spanish
would
colonial
help me
empire. But that's just
stay
a
awake,
really small
but
bit
I think it's actually
of
quite the
the
opposite.
full abilities that Spain unlocks once they get through their whole unique culture tree.
There's a lot more to each one of these.
Yeah.
So the last thing that I want to do here is we have Toledo, which I believe in our later save that we're about to jump to got a different name. I think
It's
it was Barcelona.
Yeah.
And that's just our random city naming system. But what I'm going to do here is go ahead and start spending some of our gold. So when you first settle a town, you will get a growth event. Do we have one up? No, it has to. Oh, we did. I selected right here.
Yeah.
I already did the growth event. So that allowed us to expand
I was
out
like,
Get the fishing boats
to
on
pick
the
up the
pearls.
fishing boats on the pearls. We were able to assign
And
that
then
to
we
our
got
capital.
the,
that gave us access to this, so we can start expanding into Thera on the next turn. The more growth events you have immediately, the more
do
you
they
may
not have
be able
Thera
to
yet?
jump out
Did I have
and
to get all
grab
of it?
tiles or grab resources. We could pick up this fish immediately. But we can also buy things here right away. So we cannot buy settler. You see there's no settler on this list, and that's because you have to have 5 population. Buildings do add a population though. So if we buy some of these buildings, we'll start to
Oh.
increase that population
actually
and maybe
pretty
get the
nice.
ability to buy settlers. And then rather than having to sail them all the way across, we can launch them
Buying,
from this city.
Also, you can
buildings
choose
can
these
give you
buildings to
more
expand towards
stuff.
the
That's actually
volcano
very
here and pick up those yields even faster. We can get
So money
food
can
buildings that are
potentially
going to give us growth
equate
events
to,
more rapidly. So there's
population.
lots of cool strategies you
That's
can take.
interesting.
With
Absolutely.
The,
And I think when we do load into that second save, we'll be able to see some of the effects of this building on this town too.
Maybe I could be wrong.
So now I've put down the temple. We could do a missionary if we wanted to.
because we have the belief where we get to
Right. It also acquires.
Yeah, now it has 4
immediately
pop. Right there.
get our religion
Or maybe
in a
it's-
distant land settlement that we
I
have
don't know.
created.
So we started to establish ourselves out here, and I think we can go ahead and jump forward, and then we'll see what it looks
So
like
we're
much
going to
later.
jump, I think it's close to 50 turns later, and you will see the Spanish colonial empire up in their full glory. We are returning treasure very soon.
Yes.
So the townspeople of our capital in Madrid are going to be cheering when they see those treasure fleets come home. We have had a little bit of trouble with Confucius, though,
We
because
have.
Oh.
you'll see that we settled all the way over on the distant lands continent,
Oh no.
very next to the capital city
Very
of his
next
empire that
to-
we were just starting to see the edge of there.
Oh,
And so we're not nearly as happy with Confucius. I mean, we had an initial friendly greeting there. Carl spent some influence to get a friendly greeting with them, but
How the years have soured our
yes,
relationship.
exactly.
Also,
Yeah, you
as
can't
we're
just
kind
be
of loading
friendly
in,
and then
I just want
start
to take a
doing
minute to shout out
some
some very
random
cool
BS.
things coming to Civ 7.
Yeah, still
Let's talk
expecting to be
about
friends.
cross save. That's new, right?
Yep.
Which is extremely exciting. We also have cross
is the
play,
in-game kind of stuff,
which is
of
new,
course.
and really want to shout out too that
course,
Civ 7 is
still
coming
don't
day
do
and date to
BS to your
PC
friends.
and console for the first
not-
time
that's-
ever for a
that's
Civ
just so
game,
rude.
which is a huge
If you
development
can,
for the
like,
team.
obviously,
took us
if you
quite
do
a
it,
while
but
to
you
get
did it
Civ 6
unintentionally
out
or
to
it was
all
an
the
accident,
platforms it's on
then
today.
sometimes
We
it is what it is.
keep wanting to emphasize that all those
Don't do it on
players that
purpose.
started in with the Civ franchise on a PlayStation, on an Xbox, on the Switch, we feel like they're part of our family now. We don't want to forget any of those. When Civ 7 launches in February, and we're also excited about that, we want everyone to be able to enjoy that excitement. So there's a lot that we're doing to make all the platforms, home base for any of our Civ players.
Yeah.
Let you play with other people who might be on different platforms. So we have more to talk about that, but the cross-play and the saves being compatible across the different platforms is a huge part of that. That's sort of the first big announcement for that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's hop back in here. I think we've
All
jumped
right.
ahead a little bit.
So
What
now
has changed?
We're about to turn
We
50
have
here. We've explored a lot more. So if we just sort of
more
pan our
stuff
map,
here.
we can see here's Barcelona, which we were talking about
Valladolid,
previously. We have these glorious yields here, 12 culture,
what's that
6
over there?
happiness. We've settled our treasure fleet
Zaragoza.
location, and we've settled another one over here. This is sort of a
Gao.
beautiful bay that you've discovered.
Yeah, so I sailed up to this bay. I felt like
Songhai.
I was Captain John Smith discovering the Chesapeake back in the day because I was just seeing treasure resources
We see
left and
Confucius
right.
is mad in
There's
the
chocolate
top
on
right
one
there.
side of the bay. There's sugar on the other side of it. There's
Still
a little
pretty good
navigable river
friends
connection
with,
into an even deeper bay
India
right here.
and,
where there's even more chocolate
ships
and
it.
sugar.
Which there's another
good.
thing to consider here, because just like in Civ 6, city centers count as canals. So if we were to have settled right here, this would go both directions, and you'd be able to sail around like that.
I may have played this game further, and I may have settled a city right to the northwest of that next chocolate down the bay.
Oh,
go towards Amina's capital here.
I see.
And-
over here.
Yeah, and so there's if you put a right
there.
there.
I
Yes.
see.
So I could
That's
actually
beautiful,
sail
Ed.
right up to her capital.
You could change that. Well, this is too close, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's some interesting things you could do here.
So this is the Terra Incognita map. We're starting to see what that looks like. I said that there is a random setting where it's lots of bays and inlets and little lakes. We happen to roll
Damascus
that
has,
one here.
Yeah.
Look at all
It's
these lakes.
making
Lots
for
of lakes.
Really
City-state that,
interesting
I
gameplay.
if we were to
believe,
ever have a lake civilization,
Spain is
this would be a
Superman,
great
so-
map for them.
I also want to point out, I see a couple independent powers. We've had a few questions come in
Yes.
about independent powers, how those kind of work through the ages.
And
Shenzhen.
so it's super important that you go through that because we unlocked another
Illness.
belief in these 50 turns. We got our reliquary belief. We want to go up to our religion screen. We can scroll down and see that we
Those
have
two
the
relics
reliquary
for
belief
first-time
icons.
conversion of a
So
city.
reliquary beliefs are a special choice that you make that gives your
This helps us
religion
get
a
relics.
unique way of creating relics that no one else has. And
Well, I
we
picked icons
decided,
'cause-
because we were pushing out over the distant lands, and because there are 4 major powers, major civilizations in the homelands, only 2 in the distant lands, we were going to be out in the distant lands, and there's just more space for independent powers
is
to
that?
be over there.
Oh, that's Egypt.
I was thinking we're going to see a lot of independent
I keep
powers.
seeing the red,
I have some
the red
special
unit icon. I keep
traditions
thinking
from playing as
it's
Greece
a
that allow
it's a
befriending,
barbarian, but it's
independent powers to go more rapidly.
but
than
it's
usual.
just Egypt.
And so that picking up relics from converting them to our religion would be a great way to go.
And they change a bit too, the independent powers from antiquity to exploration as well, right?
So the ones that were there on the map before are no longer there. They're
Right.
brand new independent powers, brand new abilities that you get from befriending them and becoming suzerain of them. And the names are all changed to be sort of exploration age appropriate. So yeah, it's a whole fresh set.
Having that influence is a pretty
Now
crucial thing.
Carl is showing you something
Influence is
really
nice.
pretty here.
Yeah,
Let's
this
go
is
through
the Spain unique quarter. We've placed both of our unique buildings into this
It's a
tile
plaza.
here, and it creates the plaza, which is their unique quarter. So yeah, it's really pretty here. You can even let's rotate around a little bit. We'll see the front of those buildings.
It's beautiful.
It's picking up
Horses.
13 yields now, but we just
Look
need to
at
drop some
those
specials on it, and
horses.
it could be one of the tiles that we push.
I should have just said that.
Absolutely, I think so. Yeah.
You know what? It's fine.
So I know people have
It's
been
okay
dying to
to ruin
see
the joke.
a big part of exploration, right? Which is that naval battle, the naval combat.
Yes. So we've done a lot of work to try to make naval gameplay much more important in in Civilization 7, and a big part of that is the exploration age. So we've already talked about the economic legacy path and how you're able to capture other people's treasure fleets and capture their victory points from them. So it's very important for you to have a navy to defend yourself. It's very important for you to have a navy to try to stop other players from winning that and to capture their points and accelerate yourself.
I feel I'm going to be definitely the type
So
of person
out here
who's
in
gonna
Barcelona, we have gone ahead and built ourselves a little bit of a
Civ in
navy
Expo Age. If I'm not
to try to
coastal,
protect
I would be
the treasure
more
fleets that we're going
inclined
to
to
get
pick
from
a
our settlement
Civ
here and
that doesn't
across
want
on
to go
that sort
coastal,
of bay
or that
that
gets
you've
more
discovered.
points
And a big
going
part
more
of this
coastal.
is our new commander unit from Exploration, the Fleet Commander. So there is a
fleet commander.
we still have army commanders. We have one right here. This one is actually ready to pack up a couple of units perhaps, but we have a fleet commander that is ready to pack up all of our naval units and start moving them across. And it has its own set of promotions as well that we'll take another look at when we start combat.
Before you pack him up, we need to augment these commanders.
Yes.
And we have the plaza that Carl was showing us back in our homeland. As soon as you have a unique quarter finished, it works the same way as the mechanic does for Greece. That city is then allowed to build the great people that are unique to your civilization. So we've been building conquistadors since that plaza was online, and sailed some of them west to Barcelona. And we have Ferdinand Magellan as the first of the conquistadors. Carl, you want to show us what his ability is?
So Magellan can be activated in distant lands on a fleet commander to give it +2 movement and +2 sight. So we have to move this guy over to our commander here.
I wonder if the fleet commander
the commander currently only has 3 movement.
can take in.
And if we select Magellan, we are now able to activate that.
And the question had come in about how do you get more movement?
And
this is one of those answers.
Has gone up to 3 out of 5. This will refresh to 5 out of 5 next turn, but because the turn's already started, he's missing that initial movement. And we'll go ahead and pack up our naval units here.
I think there's 3 carracks.
And look at that beautiful fleet. And we'll start. I think that
have a narrative choice.
He still has his 3 movement. The other units that he packed, their unit or their movement has gone away, but the commander still has their movement.
And now the commander is really driving this fleet forward.
Yes.
Yep. And similarly, we have a conquistador who's over with that army commander.
I will say, yeah,
Miguel Legazpi,
the ships are kind of clipping into each other.
Conquered
but
the Philippines for Spain late
Miguel Lopez
towards the end of the 16th century, and his ability lets him sort of basically get an instant army.
Commander receives 2 range units
ready to go after a distant lands. Well, actually, anywhere you want to use them.
Okay. That's powerful.
Yes.
Very. So we'll go ahead and fill this up. We get 2 range units.
I assume we get a
and
tercio
1 infantry unit.
A heavy.
And now, if we select this army commander, we can see that those units are in there, and we will embark the army commander to follow our fleet so that we can launch an amphibious invasion.
And we have a missionary there because we can see that we're getting pressure from other AI religions. Barcelona has flipped. I think, is that Confucius who's established Buddhism there? So we have 1 missionary who's defending our faith in Barcelona. Remember, for those non-sufficient orbis points, distant land settlements like Barcelona are going to score us double points if we can keep them converted to our religion. So it's very important for us to do that. There's also a missionary to the northwest of the main fleet.
Converting
that's headed
people
up
is
to
pretty
our
important.
new
If you don't want to go
city-state
coastal,
ally of Damascus.
you can still convert
because
other
if we
people
can convert Damascus to our
religion.
cause,
we'll get those 2 relics.
We'll get those 2
nice.
relics,
Like
and
if
that would
you're
be
able
certainly
to do
nice
that.
as well.
I do have a quick question from Call Me Dale. Are your home continent resources counted as treasure resources for people from distant lands?
That's a really good question.
News
It's
of their
not
seagoing
true
relative.
currently, but we are looking into potential ways to make something like that work.
Oh no, is that what happens like when you have a unit die? From,
So we had another narrative event.
thing.
Let's see.
We did, yeah, that one was a choice between science or culture. I went ahead and picked science to try to tech up a little bit here.
And speaking of science, we have finished shipbuilding, so that makes a bunch of changes. First of all, we've been going right across those deep water tiles.
Yeah,
that
that
people
they're
notice.
as
We're
if
no
it
longer
was like
stopping
one
on each
tile.
one of
Yep.
those.
I mean, one movement.
Other thing it does is it allows us to
one
start
golden
generating
happiness for
treasure
each,
fleets. But treasure fleets take a little bit of time. They don't pop out
Tomb of
immediately.
Askia.
But we can go to our resource screen and
This
we
is why
can
Askia
check
is
to
not
see
a,
the progress of treasure
an actual,
fleet generation in our
actually.
settlements.
Maybe
we
it
will
is, I'm
see
just
that
stupid.
our 2 distant land
I
settlements are either 1 turn away from a treasure fleet or 5 turns away. And one of them is going to be worth 4 treasure fleet points, and the other one's going to be worth 3.
Okay.
So we will
And the
see
treasure fleet stuff
very
is going
soon.
to be for.
And
They're
so-
very pretty.
Selena Gomez TFT asks, are treasure fleets automated or do you have to manage them?
So it is automated, but they are
Automated.
created every X turns. You don't have to like queue them up in the production queue or anything like that. That part's automated. But once they get on the map, they do not work like trade ships or caravans where they just sort of automatically path. It's too important to the gameplay of this age, especially in sort of a multiplayer situation, that you can, you know, carefully decide when you have the other fleets around to protect them, when the enemy's around, when it's not around, so you control their movement entirely.
Got it.
And then when they get home, there's a special unit action on them to unload
Oh,
cargo,
25
and that's
gold.
when the points get cashed in.
I don't know if it's the Spanish
So
mercenary.
we're trying to turn our city
Spanish
back
missionary.
to Catholicism here.
All right, so
giving gold
we
just
do
because
have.
Spain.
Wow,
or
so
something else?
Confucius has sailed up here. I think he might be moving on our treasure
Oh,
fleet
no.
that will spawn in one turn.
How did he know it was about to appear?
Well, he's just timing it out, I guess. So we want to try to defend that. So we're going to unpack these, and we'll get to start attacking these. We'll declare war.
Yeah, declare war.
We'll
first,
declare
yeah.
war. Well, I'm going to unpack first so that I'm not dealing with zone control. And then I will declare war. But before I do, I want to check in on this
No,
fleet
make
commander's
them have
promotions to
less
see
war
what it
support.
is that we're working with, so
generally
we
we
know
declare
how
war.
that's going to impact what
Unless
this battle's going to play
unless you
out,
have a cast ability.
with. So we have 4 promotions on this fleet commander. And we notice immediately that while we still have the 5 trees and the 5 commendations, that these are a little bit shorter trees than the army commander.
Yeah.
And that's because you're getting these later in the game. You've had less combat with them. We want you to be able to finish the trees a little bit faster as a result. So there's a 1 less promotion in each tree. We do have a random promotion in the middle here. This is...
It's not random. It's
Well,
from.
I mean, it's not
This is
from,
what you
like,
start
we don't have
with.
anything,
If you go
prerequisite
logistics.
promotion to unlock it. This is from our unique civics as Spain. We get this flotilla promotion, which
comes off the Armada. So
It's because
exactly.
it's
So that gives us
because-
2
okay.
additional unit slots for 6 total, and land units can then pack into this commander, which is really cool.
Right.
And then
Okay.
on the bombardment tree,
I was wondering about
we
land
have
units
shelling
and
plus 3
packing.
combat strength for naval units when attacking land units. Spotter plus 1 range attack distance, so that is really, really powerful.
As long as our naval
That
units
is
are
huge.
within the command, this is all
radius
within
of
the command radius.
Of the,
And then we have gunfire support. Naval units within the command radius have the splash ability. Enemy
Holy
units in
frick,
the
bombardment.
in
It's
tiles
very
adjacent
nice.
to the target take
Generally,
50% of the total
ships are
damage done
ranged,
to the
right?
target. This works
So-
everywhere. It works on
actually gonna be
naval
huge.
units. It works on land units.
Which makes me think,
anytime you make an attack with
how
a
are the
naval unit with
melee,
this promotion, you are dealing
units,
50% of that damage to all
for
enemy
naval
units in
gonna be
adjacent
good.
tiles. It's very good.
Carl's
Starting to
favorite
feel
promotion.
like
I designed it, so it should be.
Confucius better watch out.
Yes, indeed.
You haven't looked at
And so
the,
this
other
is one of those things we were
trees,
talking
so
about where we really,
we'll see.
really wanted to make
Maybe they
naval
have much more
gameplay
combat
extremely
strength. I don't
important.
know.
If you have a fleet commander and a fleet sitting on one of your cities attacking you with this, it's just going to decimate you. You have to target it. You have to defend yourself. And the best way to do that is with other naval units.
So talk about the commendation options as well.
So the commendations are really interesting because these you get
that's what I really
from
wanna know as
completing a tree. So we've gotten all the way to the bottom. You don't have to have every single promotion in that tree.
Just have to reach
Just
that
gotta
You have to reach the
level.
bottom.
Each
So
one,
once
okay.
you do that, then you get a commendation point that you're able to spend on one of the commendations. These are not tied one-to-one with each tree that they're beneath. You can select any of the commendations, and the one that we've unlocked here is Duty. Gain the heroic assault ability, deal direct damage to a unit in the command radius that has the same domain as the commander. So in this particular case, it's a fleet commander, so it can only attack naval units, and this is direct damage. This is not combat strength. There's no calculation that happens here. It just does an attack that just damages that unit. It's very, very
And then
strong.
it goes on cooldown for a while, I think.
I want to say it's every turn, but it could be there could be a cooldown. Yeah.
If
And
it's every
how
turn,
are
Played
you-
around with that a few times.
Yeah.
How are new
Definitely
commanders
commander's
earned?
pretty
How
nice.
do you get commanders?
Although
So
I
you
don't
can
know the
build or
radius
purchase
of
commanders. The cost of each commander increases
the
for
of the command radius. Could be
based on the number of copies
Could
of
be
that
two.
you already
It's
have. So
one
for
that
each
it's
army
not
commander you
as
have,
great.
army commanders become more expensive. For each fleet commander you have, fleet commanders become more expensive. And commanders carry over across age transitions. So the army commander that we had as Greece and Antiquity carried with us into exploration with all of the promotions it already had. So these promotions will continue to persist, and this fleet commander will go into modern when we eventually transition with all of the promotions that it has earned as well, which makes this free one from being Spain particularly powerful.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and unpack We're going to select this button. We're going to select this tile, and all of our units unpack here. They do
Looks like I
have
also did
no
lose health
movement.
from, going
There is a
into,
promotion that lets us do that on the Army Commander,
Ocean.
and it is also on the Fleet Commander. I believe it's one of these two. So reinforced hull, naval units
Take
within
half
the command
reciprocal
radius
damage
take
when
half reciprocal
flanking.
damage when flanking. That's not it. Weather gauge, naval units within the command radius can move after unpacking.
Okay.
So this will let those units have their movement as soon as they unpack. I don't have that right now, so I'm not going to declare war because then he'll attack these units before they get a chance
They'll
to
get the
attack
first
first.
strike, huh?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So we'll go ahead and skip that combat and do it next turn. We're going to sail this guy over.
The other
From
army
under the-
commander that's garrisoning at home does have that promotion, but not this one.
Nice. Okay. Good to know.
Okay. Yeah, you can put the army commander inside.
How many
the
relics do we
fleet
already
commander.
have? Let's find
Pretty
out. So
good.
before we go,
We only have
okay,
the
so we
two,
only have the
don't
2. Okay. So we have robes and we have the medicine bag.
We need to flex this independent power.
We will get there for sure. We have 113 right now. Have we already started influencing this? We have. So we are befriending.
That's our path to 2 more relics. We'll have to send a missionary now.
Yeah.
We may get to this. We may
Yeah,
not.
we'll
So this is going pretty slow. We'll go ahead and add another.
But that's our
100.
long-term strategy.
Right,
You
Yes,
need some of
that
those
is a
when you're
long-term
playing Civ as
strategy.
well.
I think this is another. No, that's just towards purchasing units.
Oh, I see a volcano.
So we'll move
icon
through some
over
of
there.
these turns, I think, to progress this battle.
Yes. Skip that. We want to keep growing. We want to pick up this cocoa, which will add another point to that treasure fleet, which I think just spawned.
Yes, let's go look
I'm
for
going
the
to put
treasure
this
fleet.
to sleep. I'm going to put this to sleep. We will put this to sleep. All right, we're going to go up here and we're going to check out this treasure fleet. So it is covered with gold all over the decks, absolutely laden down. Beautiful ship.
As
We're going
a
to select
huge
that.
ship.
It is worth 4 points.
I
and we're
can't
gonna start
tell if
sailing
that
it back
ship is
home.
like
This looks like a
slightly
pretty
off.
direct route.
Could be
All
wrong.
it has to do is get within home territorial waters, basically, of a homeland city, and then we can do the unloaded cargo.
There's
there.
there's an action.
No, it's just.
Hopefully we can make it back.
It's just one, well,
Okay.
it's only one more turn. to
I think it's
spare.
pretty safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's curved.
Confucius isn't going to get the jump on the first one.
He might
could
on the
threaten
second.
Our second one that comes from
He
him.
has moved up further. We now have the ability to attack, though. So I'm going to go ahead and declare war. And we
Announce
are
military
hostile with him.
presence.
So that means that we can declare a formal war. You can only declare a formal
Okay.
war if you are hostile. Anything higher than that, you cannot. It has to be a surprise war.
I may have denounced him a few times.
You may have denounced him a few times to set this up. It's worth noting that the leader that we revealed
And we see
earlier,
that,
Machiavelli, does
Confucius
not
is a
have to
little-
obey that rule. He can
little
always form a war
disappointed
no
in
matter
you.
what. And the difference there is that it causes war support. So if you declare a surprise war, they get additional war support, which will then hurt us. It hurts yields, it hurts combat strength. Formal war does not do that, so we'll just go ahead and
That's
declare that.
why Carl was checking his influence balance, was whether he could put in extra war support.
I did want to just go ahead and advance that independent power, try to get more relics. I think that's a little more important. But we could, if we get more, add to war support. Now, let's go ahead and do some attacking.
All right.
What's the strategy?
time.
Let's select the commander first and look at some of the special attacks that he's got.
So he has, just like the army commander, they have a group attack that they can do. So coordinated naval attack, order all naval units within the command radius to attack a specified target. All units have +1 combat strength
What
for
if
that
that
attack.
enemy is dead?
And then barrage land target, which is the same thing, but for attacking
Or a
units on
land
land.
target,
We are going to go ahead and do this and have everything bombard this ship here, which should... I'm not sure that Splash works with this, but
Yeah,
we're about to
you
test
can
it
do
and find out.
separately if you want to.
For science, right here, folks.
For science.
Did I do it right? No, I didn't.
I think you lost your selection there.
Try the other one.
Oh.
What am I doing wrong, Ed?
Well, this is the caveat that Sarah said.
It's still in progress.
Still work in progress.
All right, we'll do it individually. Let's do that.
They have just learned something.
Oh. You're not able to
Oh,
attack.
I wonder what is going on. I cannot move my unit here.
Oh, no.
That's very strange.
Looks like
God.
Confucius may have the upper hand on us after all.
No kidding. definitely.
We'll go.
Does progressing the turn?
We'll do that in a
We'll
second.
check that out in a second. Oh. Hit the M key. Okay, you just went ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think maybe trying to click on the ship and then right-clicking on the target.
Yep.
He sailed away.
There. Now we're moving.
Now he's running.
All right. So we're gonna move here, and we do have. This is our army commander. I need our fleet commander. We do have our increased attack range with this, so we are going to. But these are probably melee at this point, so we're gonna have to just chase after him here.
Oh no!
While we do this, we do have a question from chat. Is there a limit to commander amount?
Not a hard limit, no. But because they get more expensive with each one you build, they do become prohibitively expensive.
And remember, to give them most of their power comes from the promotions. The promotions is always earned from combat experience. They can both pick up, like if you're fighting around a town and you have 2 or 3 commanders there, they will each get a share of the experience that's earned. But it's often hard to get 3 units, 3 commanders all promoted at the same time. Sometimes just having one around is a more efficient way to get them up to those higher levels.
Right.
So we did just get our 2 new relics from converting that, so those were immediately slotted in.
That's good.
Okay.
That's nice. So if they'll automatically slot if you have the slot available.
Yeah. Yes. They are generated at that city state, and then the game looks for basically the closest temple.
Right.
And just automatically puts them in there.
So we made our treasure fleet home, and now all it has to be is within our borders here on the coast.
It's right next to the Colossus.
And
it's very appropriate.
We are going to unload cargo, scores treasure fleet points, awards gold, and removes the unit from the game. Let's go ahead and let's check this real quick. We'll see how many points we get.
Economic.
We are nowhere on the path.
Here we go. This is what I wanted.
But notice that
Ashoka already has scored some treasure fleet points, so he's already progressing here. Probably on the other side of the continent. He's sailing around the other way.
Remember, he was on the eastern edge of our continent.
Yeah.
He's probably going to whatever ocean is east of us, and found some islands, or maybe the other side of the Ming Empire or the empire.
Meanwhile,
that
Egypt
Mina has
skated
over on the
like
continent.
Yeah, and he's
9 out of
definitely already
12
scoring
relics.
points ahead of us. So we need to start going here. So we got +3 points there. So now we're tied with him, and I believe we get some gold here as well. 200 gold. 300 gold.
300.
It's a little small. I'm far away from the screen here.
Should be a multiple of 3 though, because there was 3.
Because 3 points.
If the text wasn't freaking
Minor
just black,
Will 1 from chat,
would
by
have
the
been
way,
better.
asks, can you capture other civs' treasure fleets if you're not at war with them?
No.
There is not. That would be a cool special ability for some civ that
What a
was very good at
volcanic
piracy, but we don't have anything like that in the game right now.
Oh, an eruption.
Like I said, that volcano just makes keeping that mine operational just nigh on to impossible.
How are you looking at with battle here, Carl?
I'm gonna try. They're still kind of far away.
even before these are actually melee
Yeah,
units,
we don't
that's
have
why
quite
they're not
enough
gonna be able to
movement.
kill.
Another question from
Almost need to
chat.
pack back up where we had the extra movement.
Yeah, but we don't have the ability to have movement when we unpack,
yeah.
so it would just delay
those
us.
Different commander abilities. are
Let's
very
do this. We're gonna come in here and we're gonna purchase
important.
another one.
Oh no, it has
Can
rank.
you
Yeah,
have
it's a
enough?
Carrick. It has rank. I don't know.
Economic attribute point or gold in all settlements. That seems very good. We're gonna do that.
Ooh. Okay, not bad.
Dan's Gaming, by the way, asks, can you capture coastal cities with fleets?
You sure that other one was a settlement
yeah.
limit increase though too?
It was an economic point,
Oh, okay.
which is good.
That's good.
But
yeah,
we'll just go ahead and get the
could be things
the
like a
automatic
settlement
gold.
point.
Army commander.
Sorry, what was the question?
Can you capture coastal cities with fleets is the question.
You can.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depending. There are
Depending,
caveats to that.
Would that be a melee unit?
I mean, yeah. So if you remember the Civ 7 capture rules, towns you're capturing the center hex, but a city can start building walls in more than just the center hex.
Right.
And every walled district has to be captured for the city to flip. So, for instance, if we took one of our cities, like the one we've been looking at, like Madrid, and we built walls into the interior of that, we would increase the number of tiles that need to be captured in order to take it. And those inland tiles the fleets wouldn't be able to get to.
But those navigable rivers,
Yes,
maybe they could
yes.
inch up there.
Yeah, so there's lots of interesting interplay there for sure.
So we're not going to get our splash damage here. Actually, this is Xerxes. For the sake of showing off splash damage, let's
declare war on
Xerxes.
He was pretty angry.
Yeah, so let's just declare war on Fergus.
So now we are going to do this and attack this unit. No.
Oh, no.
Try right-clicking.
Oh, yo.
Right-clicking removes it.
Well, but you're doing it from the commander. You just try it with the Eric.
You know what? I wonder if declaring war breaks it. I just ruined it for us.
So try.
All right, I'll move forward again.
Left-clicking the unit.
Yeah.
And then.
No, it's all frozen. Build in progress.
All right, build is in progress, and for what we can't get to in this live stream, we will certainly get to in the future. We also have these very, very cool, if you're not already following the Civ socials, some very cool gameplay insights. So definitely check out those. They're very interesting, and we'll be able to.
We did naval damage.
So look at that! It did happen.
I think it's still doing melee damage though.
Got a little bit of a battle waging now.
You can see that Xerxes' Mongolian naval units is at a cog, but it
Yeah.
looks very different than our cog did. It's got an entirely different type of sails and structure to it.
I thought these guys are using Carracks. Yeah, they're using Carracks. It might be just because of the.
I think Sarah's gonna
think
pull
that
the plug
about-
on Carl's
Yep,
naval
That
battle.
It's just the
wraps
range
us
is
up,
bugged.
though. I'm very glad that we were able to show
Because,
our Civ fans here a little
it's
taste
normally
of
like
naval
2 or
battle.
3
And
range,
we'll be
right?
going into more battle too. We have a lot more dev diaries planned, which is very exciting. Again, we have the dev diary that just came out on empire management and cities and towns, so please, please check it out. It's a great read. We also have new game guides coming out for Isabella and for Spain, so check the Civ website for those. If you haven't already, follow the Civ socials. They're awesome. We hope you guys did get the Twitch drop today too. The Exploration Age banner is awesome. And if you didn't watch us live, there will be more opportunities to redeem that in the future. So definitely keep an eye out for all of our streams. And just another reminder, Civ 7 is coming out soon, February 11th, 2025. It's coming with crossplay, cross-save, coming day and date to PC and console, which again, we are so excited to be able to say that to you today. Keep an eye out for our upcoming live streams. We're going to be covering the modern age as well coming up. So more news on that soon. But thank you, Ed. Thank you, Carl, for being here today.
Absolutely.
So,
all right. Thank you, guys.
Hopefully, I'll be able to stream during those times because I really want to stream on February. I will be probably like streaming the heck out of Civ 7. And if we got friends who are able to play alongside us, then yeah, we'll also play with them as well. So be it on the 5th or 6th. So if I'm able to get people to play with me on on February 5th or 6th, I forget what. I think it's 6th. So on the Thursday, oh, that's actually perfect timing. It's on the Thursday because I normally stream on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So, and at the moment I tend to stream in the afternoon, so I could get some EU friends to play Civ 7 if they have the early bird version, and I can play with them. If they don't, then it's on the 11th, so it's on a Tuesday, which I still stream on that day as well. So if there's any friends who do really like Civ, I know there's some of you. Feel free to hit me up. Be like, February 11th, play Civ 7 with me. I was like, okay, we'll see what happens then, because I don't know what's gonna happen on February 6th or February 11th. Maybe there'll be something random that will force me to not play. Maybe there'll be Star Rail stuff that might catch my attention instead. Who knows? We'll see. If it's Star Rail related stuff, I could just stream it another day, personally. But you know, we'll see what happens. Right? I can't guarantee everything. But yeah, that was a long stream. It's like 2 hours of stream. Yeah, that was 2 hours of stream. So let us do some more analysis, because that's what I'm here to do personally.
Okay. I am more so interested in not this part. Not this part. Not here, not here. Not here. I want to look at religion. Actually, no, I want to look here.
Like,
too.
I'm just gonna pick a bunch of stuff.
So we got -2 settlement limit, but plus 100% influence towards initiating and progressing diplo actions that target independent powers and city-states. Okay.
Alliance.
I believe there's something else here. Yeah, for this age, plus 50% food, it costs a -10% gold. Or plus 1 science for every codex and antiquity. Or just getting an attribute. I assume, okay, so I think with these legacy things, you could pick stuff that's more permanent, like the leader attribute points. So I guess scientific attribute point. That's literally a leader point, which is pretty much permanent because your leader will always have this trait, no matter what. They will stick with you throughout the whole game. And then we got some like temporary stuff, like for only Expo Age, you can get 15% food but -10% gold. And then I guess most of everything else is kind of the same thing, right? And there may be some that says, "Oh, immediately build a settlement" or whatever. If you started playing in Expo Age and whatnot,
those. Oh, I have one more.
Or maybe you can immediately get some texts. I don't know.
We'll do a wild card, yeah.
We'll do a
cultural whichever you want to pick.
Yeah, so these ones would be temporary, but the attribute points are permanent, which is why there's all of those options. Yeah, and the militaristic one has both of them, expansion and militarist, because it's all about expanding. Either
so the wonders that you settle on will benefit your homelands as well. If you settle on a wonder that is, let's say, culture or science yields, those are empire level yields and will just add to your science and culture progression as normal. If you are settling on a wonder that's, say, giving food or production, and you have a town, then towns can send yields back to your other cities, so you'll be able to send those.
Oh yeah, do you want to look at this?
Invest in.
Gee, then you would just.
Okay, there you go. So you got 20% food, and then 30% production towards cavalry and naval, 20% gold, and then 30% production overbuilding, 20% culture, and 40% production towards civ and support units. In my personal opinion, I probably would pick like plutocracy or theocracy, because they did say overbuilding is going to be kind of a thing, for Explo and modern era. So I kind of like plutocracy and theocracy, just because religion is going to be pretty huge, in Explo Age, and so is overbuilding. And of course, I think they made a pretty good balance, just because. Monarchy is not bad either, because food, just growth, which is just good. And building naval units is also just good, because Expo Age is, at the moment, I guess, mostly about building naval units so you can defend your distant land expansion. So.
Be raking in the points.
And then you can invest in the legacy path that also rewards expansionist points.
That's the thing that I was very interested
absolutely.
in.
You know, if your strategy is to try to push as deep into those attribute trees as possible.
Okay.
Now
this is the treasure resource stuff. Not what we're here for personally, or that's not what I'm here for. Okay, maybe I've already went past it. Maybe. I don't think I did. Oh, what? There we go. There we go. Okay. Religion.
Sure. But the enhancer and the founder beliefs are very similar to what you would remember from Civ 6, where an enhancer belief is a.
I am not going off of what the numbers are, because they said that the numbers are work in progress. Those are balanced stuff. We're not going to talk about the balanced stuff. We're going to talk about the concept itself.
So they pick conversion. So newly founded towns in distant lands start with the religion. So that basically just says you don't have to build as much investment in the missionaries, so that you can you won't have to focus on building missionaries for your distant lands expands. It's pretty good. If you are aggressively building towns in distant lands, conversion is probably going to be really good. That's probably the thing that you're going to pick. Stella Maris, I'd say, is probably the other option if you want to if you just want a more generalist thing, because +2 movement to missionaries and embarked helps you bring your missionaries to your distant land expands, and it also gives all naval and embarked units +1 movement, which missionaries is an embarked unit, so technically they have +3 movement. So really huge. It's the cost of Stella Maris is probably the you have to invest in your missionaries, but they can get to your places much faster. Get to your distant land expands much faster. Defender of the Faith is just being able to defend your settlements. Makes sense. Conquer. Okay, millenarianism. Millenarianism. Okay. Conquered settlements are converted to your religion. So if you're a conqueror, then this is going to be the one that you're going to love the most. Because if you conquer, you just immediately get them to be your religion. Huge. Dawa, when a trade route is established, settlement is converted to your religion. Oh. So if you're going like real diplomatic, you want to do a lot of trade with other people, you can get some conversion there. Pretty good. Zeal, just a generalist, +1 charge to missionaries. If you want to build tons of missionaries, Zeal is going to be pretty nice. Scripture increases your production towards missionaries based on the relics you have. So that's going to be it's going to be better if you have relics. If you don't have relics, it's going to be a little bit rough. You generally don't start with the relics, if I remember correctly, when you play. So you're going to have to get the reliquary belief in order for scripture to be more worth it. But it does mean you're able to spread your religion probably much better in the late game, because production towards missionaries is very nice. And I don't know what Sanctum does.
Way that your
+1 relic
spreads,
slot in temples
in
and
a
cities.
Unique,
I
stronger
don't
fashion
know
than
if
the
it's
other
just
religions in the game.
Okay, that's it. So relic slot in temples and cities is this one doesn't really help you spread anything. It's just more relic slots, which is, I believe, is gold and culture, or happiness and culture. So really nice. It's just overall +2 happiness, +2 culture. If you just want those two stat sticks, then Sanctum's good. You don't need anything in particular. There you go.
So I think when I played through this game, I believe instantly a big right off
Religion.
previous.
Okay,
Or select the same religion. Asking in chat.
Okay. Interfaith dialogue is science for every full settlement. So interfaith dialogue, you get science. Spread your religion to other people, get science. Stewardship is based on natural wonders. For every tile that has a natural wonder in other civilization settlements. So if you have the natural wonders, then it's not good. It's stewardship is specifically natural wonder in other civ settlements. So if other people are getting lucky with their natural wonders stuff, then it's good. But if they have a natural wonder that has multiple tiles, then it's really good, because it's +8 culture, gold, and science for every tile. I believe that one volcano wonder is like 3 or 4 tiles. So if someone were to convert
that city in this save here, and it had stewardship, that would be 30. If it was 4 tiles, 32 culture gold aside. I know we're not talking about numbers, but in this case, yeah, it's supposed to be huge because it's natural wonders. Natural wonders are very uncommon, and it makes sense. Shrines of the Kami is plus 4 culture gold and science for every wonder in other civs settlements following your religion. So this is just for wonders in general. I assume this also counts natural wonders because it's a wonder. It might not be a built wonder, but it's a wonder. So I'd probably pick that one. Like I feel like that's the more consistent one. Just because wonders are nice. But that means that you're hoping that other people build lots of wonders. And you're hoping that they also get a lot of natural wonders as well. If you're getting unlucky with wonders and you're getting unlucky with natural wonders, you're probably picking Shrines of Kami. And you have a neighbor that has a lot of those. Tithe is just if there's a lot of settlements, is gold. Holy Ecumene is culture. Reincarnation is science for every tropical tile and other civ settlements. The thing with the founder beliefs is that it's based on other settlements or foreign settlements. Oh yeah, it just says there are some that says other civs. So stewardship, shrine of Kami, reincarnation, the one that we read so far, you have to rely on other people getting really lucky. So reincarnation is good if they have if they're tropical civ and they like tropical stuff. Shamanism is tundra. Desert faith
leaders
is
found
gold.
the same religion or select the same religion?
No, it's the same.
If Pasana is happiness, holy waters is marine tile. Happiness is marine tile. So I don't know if marine counts like navigable rivers and regular rivers. I could be wrong. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it does. If it does, good. But yeah, holy
That
waters.
works the same as in our
very grassland tile.
Previous Civ 5 and Civ
Very
6.
plains tile.
Where once I choose Catholicism, everyone
that
else
might
is going
be
to
it.
have to pick a different one. Just we don't
Yeah, I
want
think
the
that
symbols
looks like
to
that's
get too
it.
confusing
Right.
and the names to get too confusing.
And the belief.
They didn't. I know for sure they didn't go over the reliquary beliefs, so I'm not gonna look into any of those. But the fact that the founder beliefs are based off of other civs or other settlements is interesting because it does make you have to pay attention to how other people are doing. And I kind of like that. Honestly, I kind of like that. At first I thought I was gonna be very concerned about it, but the more I think about it, I think the better I feel about it. Because I think most people when I play Civ 6 with my religion, I tend to just keep my religion to myself. But with this system, it makes people more engaged with the religion system. Like, oh, you have to defend your religion, you have to spread your religion, right? So I'm very curious about how people in general are gonna react to this part with the religious system, or with the founder beliefs being all about gaining benefits off of spreading your religion to other people, which generally other people don't want your religion. Or maybe they do. I don't know. I don't think they do though. But generally, you want to have your own. I don't know if there is a cap to. I forgot if they mentioned it in the stream, but you're free to tell me. Maybe they have a system where I think I just suddenly got a brain fart. But I don't know if there's a system where you want to have other people's religions. There might be a civ that wants that. There might be a leader that wants that. I don't know. We'll see when everything gets released. But right now, this is what we have so far. I don't know what you guys are thinking when you see this. Do you guys think this? How do you guys think about this? Actually, I'm very curious because the more I think about this, the more I kind of like it, just because of just the Expo age and being all about expanding outward to like different areas. And religion is kind of like that same belief where you want to spread yourself as well. I don't know. Because I feel like my knee-jerk reaction of the people, I feel like in general, they're probably not going to like this. But I'm starting to like it, and I don't know why. I think it's just because of the fact that it's the Expo age. Because if it was the Antiquity age, if they had I think the fact that they made religion a Expo age thing is good, just because of the fact that with the Antiquity age you kind of want to expand and grow yourself, and you want to like focus on yourself for the most part. And with the with Expo age, you're kind of focusing on other people, like more, I would say. So I kind of like this. It feels kind of good. But as a person who I feel like with Civ 5 and Civ 6, we're more used to like improving ourselves by just building stuff that just helps us, just period. I feel like a lot of people may be a little averse to it at first. I don't know. It feels good to me, but I don't know about you, Go. But is there anything else you guys want to see before I think about other stuff? Because I'm trying to remember. Okay, what's this? No, this is this big. No, that one. No, not this. Oh no, that was just the town focus. Okay, never mind. Yeah, this that doesn't matter. Well, it's not. It doesn't matter, but +2 influence per settlement connected to this town. Okay, that's interesting. Religious site. Oh wait, I actually didn't see this. Some of these actually. I think with the with Antiquity Age, we saw the first 5. So growing town, fort town, urban center, fishing town, mining town. I don't think we saw the next 2, hub town and religious site. So +2 happiness and 1 relic slot on temples in this town. That's interesting because you get more happiness from each town. So I believe it's +2 happiness and +2 culture from relics for the most part. So it's basically, if you have that relic slot filled, it's +4 happiness and +2 culture. Again, numbers are numbers. We're not talking about if that's good or not, but hey, we expect around that much, right? So yeah, happiness and culture from the religious site, and the hub town gives influence per settlement connected to town. I'm curious about how much people are going to use hub town. I feel like it might be a very good sleeper pick. I don't know. Well, time will tell, right? But yeah. What do you guys think of Expo Age? Because as a guy who isn't a coastal player for the most part, I tend to just be landlocked. Unless I start in the coast, I am generally going to be landlocked. So the fact that they're making Expo Age much more focused on coastal stuff is interesting to see, because coastal gameplay tends to for me not to be the best. You either focus hard on it or you don't focus on it at all. So I'm curious as to how or what civs are going to be the, other than Mongolia, because they did say that Mongolia is focused on conquering other civs that are in the homeland. But I'm curious if there's any civs that are gonna talk about that's focused on getting points by simply just, I don't know, going just focusing on the homeland and that's it. Like a traditional like kind of Civ. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't think there's much else I want to go over. Unless there is something you all want me to talk about. We're not going to talk about the scuff because they did have scuff with the naval combat. Unfortunately, it seems like all the naval units were melee. So a little concerning there because I saw that they were only able to attack once they were in melee range. So we'll see if they were able to fix that bug. But I'm also a little bit questioning on like how good naval melee units are gonna be. Maybe they just I assume melee naval units are just faster and maybe they have more combat strength just to accommodate, right? I assume. Maybe that's not the case, maybe it is. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't think there's much. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I want to talk about in particular. Just gonna check these. I guess I can make sure the relics. Okay, this is where they make the religion. Yeah, this is why they make the religion here. I believe they went to a relic at some point. Trying to check when. When was the relic? Here? Okay, yeah, culture and happiness. So, yeah, I was right. Culture and happiness. Yeah. I don't think there's much else I wanted to focus on, really. This is all like pre Explo age here. Yeah, it's all like the progress stuff. Yeah, this is the progress stuff. How many
All the
circles?
progression.
Oops. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. 11 of those circles, which means that I have 11 civs to choose from. And we know some of them already. Actually, I can go to the site. I can go to the website. Civilizations. Okay. Gameplay, civilizations. So I have Antiquity Age. How many do we know already? We know 10 already. Axum, Egypt, Greece, Han, China, Khmer, Maurya, India, Maya, Mississippian, Persia, and Rome. Explo Age, we have Abbasid, Chola, Mongolia, Norman, Shawnee, Spain. Probably something else as well. Trying to remember, but. And then Modern Age, we have Mexico. I assume like America as well. And then Mughal. And Japan. Wait, where is Japan? I remember they mentioned that there was gonna be a Japan. I forgot if it was Expo Age or Modern Age, but I know there was supposed to be a Japan somewhere. But anyway, not much else I want to talk about. So us see if there's anyone in particular doing some Civ 7 related talks. Otherwise, we could just end it off here. Thank you all so much for joining me in my freaking analysis. I don't know how good my analysis is. Feel free to tell me, I guess for the YouTube people, because I probably put this on YouTube, tell me in the comments if there's anything else you want me to theorycraft on for Civ 7, for the Explo Age, of course. And yeah. thank you all so much for watching. And as always, make sure to write yourselves and take care of yourselves. If you do want to see Civ 7 stuff, I will periodically cover those as we see more information from the Civ 7 peeps. So do leave a follow if you want to learn more about Civ 7 stuff and you want to get my insight on it, because I may not be the best Civ player in the world, but I do really like Civ 7. And I like Civ 5, I like Civ 6, and I feel like Civ 7 is going to be a hit in my personal opinion, mostly because of the cutting down on the random micromanagement with like builders and stuff. Because I think cutting down on that helps, one, get new players in, and two, helps older players do things much faster as well. So I actually really like how Civ 7 is going with this. I know age system may be a little bit controversial, but how does Expo age look like? One, welcome on in, Sarge. Two, Explo age is, as the name suggests, it's all about exploration. It literally is exploration. You are much more inclined to explore in the coast. So, as a non-coastal boy myself, it's not my cup of tea, but I think I like it. Despite it not being my cup of tea, like coastal gameplay, just in general, in like Civ 5 and 6, I think I like the push just to make coastal gameplay relevant, just in general. So we'll go here. So there are certain like resources which you can gather to get like treasure fleets, and treasure fleets are a requirement for doing an economic goal for the Explo age. Religion is you're much more inclined to be aggressive with your religion instead of normally when you play Civ like 5 or 6, keeping your religion to yourself, because the founder believes. So there's a let's go back to the that religion table if I can find it. See if I can find it again. Right here. Okay. I have an enhancer belief, which is how you generally spread your religion. Yeah, belief type helps you spread your religion. And then we have the founder beliefs, which are mostly for, or at least based on these things that we see here in the stream. They're mostly based off of, or you benefit mostly based off of other civs and settlements. So not your own settlements, other people's settlements. So I'm curious as to how much you have to defend your religion, because you could just end up I don't know, have your own settlements have other people's religions, and have your own religion be in other people's settlements. So other people will spread to your non-holy city, and then have your religion spread to other people's non-holy cities. I don't know. That's what it's feeling like to me, because you benefit off of foreign settlements following your religion, or other civ settlements following your religion. I actually kind of like this, because it makes religion more active. Although I feel like knee-jerk reaction-wise, I feel like people are not going to like it. But I feel like the more I read into it, I feel like the more that I like it, because I feel like just because of how the age system is and how it like splits kind of like gameplay into different like sections. I think with Expo Age you got to be more like aggressive. I think that's the age of aggression. Whether it be hard expanding, inward expanding, religious expanding, or conquering expanding. So I like it. I kind of actually like it. But yeah, don't think there again. Not much else I need to say though. So I am going to end it off here. Thank you all so much for joining me. And as always, make sure about yourselves and take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful life, everyone. Again, I don't really see anyone in particular doing anything that's like Civ related that I know. So I am just gonna end off here. But yeah, Saturday, if I feel like doing a stream, I might do a stream. I don't know. If I don't feel like it, then no stream. If I do feel like it, you'll get an announcement on Discord and whatnot. So yeah, if you're not on the Discord server, if you want to hang out with me, there's my Discord server. We just talk about stuff. I am way more open on my Discord server. So if you do want to know more stuff about my life, I guess, and like why certain things are happening, why I talk about these random things, there you go. You could join that. But otherwise, yeah. Take care, everyone. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, the button.